Chapter 32-22. Every time the Genius Secret Realm opened, the Grade 1 forces would usually recruit people inside. However, those who could make a Grade 1 force take the initiative to send out invitations were all outstanding grassroots prodigies. A grassroots prodigy who was invited to a Grade 1 force would receive a completely different treatment compared to a grassroots prodigy who took the initiative to join a Grade 1 force. In the past 10,000 years, there were only two grassroots prodigies who were invited by the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan, two of the three strongest Grade 1 forces in the Nando territory. On the other hand, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect had not invited anyone in the past 10,000 years. I wonder if the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect will take the initiative to invite a grassroots prodigy to enter the Genius Secret Realm? I don't think so. The Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect has higher standards than the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan. They won't casually invite grassroots prodigies. I think so too. It's already not bad if the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan invite a grassroots prodigy to join the Genius Secret Realm. Days passed as the people in the Nando territory discussed among themselves. The Genius Secret Realm was about to open. The Genius Secret Realm was open to everyone in the Nando weave. There were entrances to the Genius Secret Realm. As long as they were celestial lords and younger than 1,000 years old, they would be able to enter the Genius Secret Realm. Meanwhile, there were many 10 Direction celestial kings who were younger than 1,000 years old in the Nando territory. They were only a step away from becoming a celestial lord. They were frantically searching for a breakthrough. As long as they became celestial lords, they would be able to enter the Genius Secret Realm. In the Snow Horizon Celestial Sect, Duan Lingtian sighed as he sat in the valley. There's still a month left. It seems like I won't be able to enter the Genius Secret Realm. Currently, there was only a month left before the Genius Secret Realm would open. After the Genius Secret Realm opened, the entrance would only be open for 3 days. After that, it would be impossible to enter again. Currently, Duan Lingtian was still a 10 Direction celestial king. I wonder if the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon that allows me to possess the celestial origin energy and soul energy of a one basic celestial lord will be able to fool the entrance of the Genius Secret Realm. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian went to look for the sect leader of the Snow Horizon Celestial Sect, Chai Xiongyi, to ask about this matter. After staying in the Snow Horizon Immortal Sect for so many years, Duan Lingtian knew that Chai Xiongyi was the most knowledgeable person in the Snow Horizon Immortal Sect. In fact, it was hard to find someone more knowledgeable than Chai Xiongyi in the Northern Icy Plains. Lord Revered Elder, theoretically, with the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon and the celestial origin energy of a one basic celestial lord, you should be able to deceive the formation in the Genius Secret Realm. Chai Xiongyi said, but have you ever thought about it? Could it be that you're not going to make a move after entering the Genius Secret Realm? Once you make a move, your cultivation base will fall back to the level of a 10 Direction celestial king. At that time, you will still be sent out. In the history of the Nando territory, someone has used this method before. However, in the end, he was forcefully sent out of the Genius Secret Realm. Upon hearing Chai Xiongyi's words, Duan Lingtian fell silent. Lord Revered Elder, since you have the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon, why don't you just use it? You can use it to sense your cultivation base as a one basic celestial lord. Perhaps you'll find a miracle and become a celestial lord. Chai Xiongyi gave Duan Lingtian a suggestion. With your current cultivation base, there's no point in keeping the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon. Upon hearing Chai Xiongyi's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. That was right. Why had he not thought of this before? Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian took out the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon he had obtained in the past and used his last chance to refine it. The consumable royal-grade celestial weapon disappeared after Duan Lingtian used up his last chance. Duan Lingtian's body was filled with the celestial origin energy of a one basic celestial lord. Even his soul had been elevated to the level of a one basic celestial lord. So, this is the level of a one basic celestial lord. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath before he bade farewell to Chai Xiongyi and left. In the following month, Duan Lingtian did not dare to recklessly use his celestial origin energy and soul energy for fear that his cultivation base would fall back to the level of a 10 Directions celestial king. Ha ha ha. On the second day of the genius secret realm, Duan Lingtian, who had given up all hope, finally found a miracle and successfully broke through to the level of a celestial lord with the consumable royal grade celestial weapon. Congratulations, revered Elder Lingtian. Hao Wang, the supreme elder of the Snow Horizon Celestial Sect, hurried over to congratulate Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian nodded at Hao Wang before he went to wake Huan, who was still comprehending the law of space. Huan, I've broken through. Let's go. Let's go to the entrance of the genius secret realm. There was only a little more than a day left before the entrance of the genius secret realm closed. Even with their speed, it would take them almost a day to reach the entrance of the genius secret realm. Although they were not in a hurry, Duan Lingtian's emotions were still fluctuating. Swoosh, swoosh. Hao Wang's eyes widened in shock when he saw Duan Lingtian and Huan disappearing into the horizon. The genius secret realm? Revered Elder Lingtian and revered Elder Huan are less than 1,000 years old? Hao Wang's heart skipped a beat when he recalled the strength Duan Lingtian and Huan had displayed before they broke through to the Celestial Lord realm. They'll definitely be able to compete with the young geniuses from Grade 1 forces in the Genius Secret Realm. In fact, I'm afraid not many young geniuses from Grade 1 forces are a match for them. Hao Wang was confident in Duan Lingtian and Huan strength after witnessing Duan Lingtian and Duan Lingtian's strength. Almost a day later, Duan Lingtian and Huan finally arrived at the entrance of the Genius Secret Realm that was closest to the Snow Horizon Celestial Sect. The entrance of the Genius Secret Realm was located halfway up a cliff. There were many people hovering in the air outside the entrance. It was clear they were here to accompany someone. However, there were only a few people who had entered the Genius Secret Realm. Huan, let's go in. At this moment, Duan Lingtian and Huan held hands as they entered the Genius Secret Realm. After the two of them left, another round of exclamations rang out from the crowd. They were all amazed by Huan's flawless face. So, this is the Genius Secret Realm? Duan Lingtian's vision blurred for a moment before he found himself in the air above a group of magnificent buildings with Huan by his side. He could vaguely see some figures loitering around the magnificent buildings. It was clear they were people who had entered the Genius Secret Realm. Huan, let's go over there and have a look. With just a glance, Duan Lingtian saw a mountain in the distance that pierced through the clouds. At this moment, many figures were making their way over. After a while, Duan Lingtian and Huan caught up to the group of people. At this moment, many people had also noticed Duan Lingtian and Huan. They were shocked by Huan's stunning appearance and were attracted to her. However, when they saw Duan Lingtian holding Huan's hand, their expressions darkened. Of course, almost everyone's eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. There are very few female celestials who can enter the Genius Secret Realm. I didn't expect one of them to be such a beauty. Unfortunately, she's already taken. A middle-aged man sighed emotionally. Although she's already taken, as long as you're strong enough, it's not impossible for you to snatch her away. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's words, another young man who looked frivolous laughed. All talk and no action. Why don't you give it a try? A young man not far away glanced at the frivolous young man and ridiculed him. However, in the end, no one dared to look for trouble with Duan Lingtian. After all, everyone in the Genius Secret Realm possessed extraordinary innate talent. Apart from young prodigies from Grade 1 forces, no one dared to offend anyone in the Genius Secret Realm. After all, no one could be certain if they had offended someone more outstanding than them. It's been less than 3 days since the Genius Secret Realm opened. I wonder if there are any prodigies from Grade 1 forces at the foot of the Peak of Gravity. If there are, I'm afraid he won't be able to rank higher. A young man standing near Duan Lingtian said with a sigh, Peak of Gravity? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up slightly as he looked at the mountain peak that towered into the clouds and attracted everyone. As more and more people spoke, he finally learned what the Peak of Gravity was. The Peak of Gravity was a mountain where the higher one climbed. the stronger the gravitational force. There were 99 peaks of gravity in the genius secret realm. One could challenge any one of the 99 peaks of gravity. Once one reached a certain height, one would be rewarded. If one could break the record, one would have a chance to obtain an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Even if one did not obtain an Emperor-grade celestial weapon, the value of the peak of gravity was similar to an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. However, it was not easy to break the record. It seems like the peak of gravity hasn't been broken for 20,000 years. The last person who broke the record was Yu Jiancheng, the current sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, right? That's right. When sect leader Yu was a 6-combos celestial lord, he broke the record by climbing 37,870 meters to the foot of the peak of gravity and obtained an Emperor-grade celestial sword for it. The best result in the past 10,000 years is only 30,000 meters. It's still a long way from sect leader Yu's record. Sect leader Yu of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect is not an ordinary person. Rumor has it that he's the youngest among the pillars of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, but his strength is not inferior to the older generation. Chapter 32-23. Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, is a 6-combo celestial lord even though he's not even 1,000 years old? It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to deduce that the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, one of the 3 strongest Grade 1 forces in the Nando territory, was such an outstanding prodigy. Since he's able to leave behind such an unsurpassable record, it means he has comprehended an extraordinary law as well. Duan Lingtian was certain of this. After a while, Duan Lingtian and Huan finally arrived at the peak of gravity. It was a towering mountain that pierced through the clouds. When they arrived, there were already more than a dozen people gathered at the foot of the mountain. It seems like many people have entered the genius secret realm. Earlier, Duan Lingtian had learned that there were 99 peaks of gravity in the genius secret realm. There were more than 30 people gathered at one of the peaks of gravity. Moreover, many people were making their way to the peak of gravity as well. It's not surprising. Although it's rare to see a celestial lord younger than 1,000 years old, the Nando territory is so huge that there should be a lot of them. Apart from that, not everyone who enters the genius secret realm is from the Nando territory. There are many outsiders as well. The Nando territory was a territory without a titled celestial emperor. It was ruled by the various Grade 1 forces. Due to this reason, the top forces in the Nando territory were at loggerheads. Some Grade 1 forces would even fight to the death if they encountered each other outside. Such an environment was the dream of many people who attained their Tao through battle. I wonder if Ling Jueyan will enter the genius secret realm as well? At this moment, Duan Lingtian could not help but think about Ling Jueyan, who had obtained the heaven sacrificial divine fruit with him in the equal heaven territory. Ling Jueyan was from the divine offering land. It could be said that he had grown up with a silver spoon in his mouth. Now that he had become a celestial lord, he was certain Ling Jueyan would do the same. Look, it's Yi Yu Chun from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. He reached the peak of gravity. Everyone, including Duan Lingtian and Huan turned to look at Duan Lingtian and Huan when they heard Duan Lingtian's words. Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically. Duan Lingtian glanced over and saw a figure flying up the peak of gravity. The peak of gravity looked like an ordinary mountain from afar. However, upon closer inspection, it was actually a mountain with layers of stairs. The distance between the steps of the peak of gravity was very high, at least 10 meters. One had to cross 10 meters to reach the next step. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, a black figure was rapidly climbing up the steps. In the blink of an eye, he had climbed up the 1,000th step, and that was also 10,000 meters high. However, the clouds in the genius secret realm were 30,000 meters high. One had to climb 3,000 steps to reach the clouds. It was unknown if it was intentional or not. Now, the black shadow had covered 1/3 of the distance between the ground and the clouds. He's Yi Yu Chun, the prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect who's already a 4-phenomenon celestial lord before the age of 1,000? That's him. I've seen him before. Yi Yu Chen is ranked in the top 3 among the prodigies under the age of 1,000 in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. I wonder how he'll perform this time. Duan Ling Tian muttered to himself. The genius secret realm only opens once every 1,000 years. Only celestial lords below the age of 1,000 are allowed to enter. In other words, everyone can only enter once in their lifetime. Not only are we here for the first time, but it's also the first time for the geniuses from the Grade 1 forces. Yi Yu Chun can only be considered above average among the prodigies from Grade 1 forces who are younger than 1,000 years old. Upon hearing the discussions in the surroundings, Duan Lingtian learned that the person who was climbing the peak of gravity was Yi Yu Chen. Naturally, he had never heard of such a person before. All these years, he had been in the Snow Horizon Celestial Sect and had not heard of any prodigies from Grade 1 forces. Huaner, let's go as well. When Duan Ling Tian saw the others had no intention of climbing the peak of gravity, he brought Huaner along with him as they flew toward the peak of gravity. However, as soon as they reached the peak of gravity, they were separated by a gentle force. Clearly, the peak of gravity didn't allow anyone to team up with others. One could only rely on themselves to ascend as high as possible. They're climbing the peak of gravity. I don't know why, but I feel a lot better when I see them separated even though I don't know them. He has such a beautiful woman by his side. Any man would be jealous of him. I'm almost dancing for joy right now. The people below the peak of gravity shifted their attention to Duan Ling Tian and Huaner when they saw the duo ascending the peak of gravity. Many of them began to ridicule the duo. Let's go and have a look as well. Let's go. There's no point in waiting here. Why don't we challenge the peak of gravity? As long as we can climb 20,000 meters, we'll be able to leave our names on the peak of gravity. Is that so? Then, I'll leave my name on the peak of gravity. In just a blink of an eye, more than a dozen figures caught up with Duan Lingtian and Huaner. As expected, the further one climbs the peak of gravity, the stronger the gravity is. Duan Lingtian and Huaner climbed the 1,000 step at the same time. They were now 10,000 meters away from the peak of gravity. At this point, they did not feel any pressure at all. Their speed was comparable to Yi Yu Chen from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, and they weren't any slower than Yi Yu Chen. Who are they? His speed is actually faster than Yi Yu Chen's. I don't know. However, based on their auras, they don't seem to be from ordinary forces. Perhaps they're from a Grade 1 force? I don't think so. If they are, it's impossible for so many of us to not recognize them. Perhaps they're the direct disciples of a high-ranking official from a Grade 1 force. They don't usually show themselves, so they can make a name for themselves in the genius secret realm. Maybe they're grassroots prodigies. Duan Ling Tian and Huan Er's outstanding performance shocked the people at the foot of the peak of gravity and those who followed them up the mountain. That Yi Yu Chen. He slowed down when he reached the 1,600th step. It seems like he's already under pressure from there. When they reached the 1,100th step, Duan Ling Tian saw Yi Yu Chen. The prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect was clearly slowing down. However, Yi Yu Chen had not even reached the 1,700th step. In other words, he was already under pressure before he reached the 17,000th step. Otherwise, he would not have slowed down. Swoosh, swoosh. Duan Lingtian and Huan did not slow down at all as they continued to climb. When Yi Yu Chen reached the 1,800th step, Duan Lingtian and Huan finally caught up to him. Yi Yu Chen was a black-clad young man with a cold expression on his face. An expression of surprise appeared on his face when he saw two people chasing after him. He was even more shocked when he realized he had never seen these two people before. Grassroots prodigies? As a prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, a Grade 1 force, Yi Yu Chen was certain these two people were not among the young prodigies under the age of 1,000. Young prodigies from Grade 1 forces would often have gatherings, and Yi Yu Chen had attended them. Therefore, he knew almost all of the young prodigies from Grade 1 forces. For this reason, Yi Yu Chen was certain these two people were not ordinary prodigies. He was certain these two people were not from Grade 1 forces. Whoosh, whoosh. When Yi Yu Chen saw Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's faces, the duo continued to climb. In just a blink of an eye, They had already reached the 1,900th step, the law of space. At this moment, Yu Chan could tell Duan Lingtian and Huan had comprehended the law of space based on their gray celestial origin energy. They've surpassed Yu Chan. They haven't slowed down at all. It seems like they'll definitely reach the 20,000-meter mark. Look, some names have already appeared on the peak of gravity. Yu Pingji is a prodigy from the ancient Phoenix clan. Bailey Shang is a prodigy from the Bailey clan. Ouyang Chen is a prodigy from the profound Sky Dao sect. And that one. At this moment, a few names appeared on the peak of gravity. They were shocked by Duan Ling Tian and Huan Er's strength. They were certain the duo would be able to reach the 2,000th step. However, at this moment, a few names appeared on the peak of gravity. After these names appeared, there was also the number of steps they were currently on, and the number of steps was constantly changing. For example, Bailey Shang was currently ranked second on the 2,113 steps. However, in just a blink of an eye, he had surpassed the person who was ranked first. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, Duan Ling Tian and Huan finally arrived at the 2,000th step. Everyone's attention was focused on the name and the number of steps on the peak of gravity. As soon as Duan Ling Tian stepped onto the 2,000th step, he felt a huge pressure bearing down on him. It was completely different from the pressure he had felt before. Big brother Ling Tian, the pressure here seems to have increased. Huan sent him a voice transmission. I can feel it. Duan Ling Tian replied, please leave your name. Duan Ling Tian and Huan were about to reach the 2,000th step when a voice rang in their ears. Duan Ling Tian and Huan felt a new pressure bearing down on them. In the next moment, the silhouette of a brush appeared in front of them. However, when Duan Ling Tian and Huan extended their hands, they grabbed the brush and wrote their names in the air. After they finished writing their names were at the end of the list of names that appeared on the peak of gravity. Huan 2,000th step. Duan Ling Tian, 2,000th step. Chapter 32-24. Huan Duan Ling Tian? Have you heard of him? I don't think they're prodigies from grade 1 forces. Earlier, the names that appeared on the peak of gravity were all prodigies from grade 1 forces. However, the names of grassroots prodigies have already appeared on the peak of gravity. In the genius secret realm, a commotion could be heard at the foot of the 99 peaks of gravity. In the Nando territory, the grade 1 forces had the most outstanding prodigies. The grade 1 forces were rich in resources, and their prodigies were heavily nurtured since they were young. It was only natural that their prodigies would have great achievements. Now that two grassroots prodigies had made it to the peak of gravity ranking, the grassroots prodigies in the genius secret realm were all excited. After all, the number of grassroots prodigies in the genius secret realm was much higher than the number of prodigies from grade 1 forces. However, the quality of the grassroots prodigies was far inferior compared to the grade 1 forces. This made the grassroots prodigies feel very frustrated. Now that a grassroots prodigy had made it to the peak of gravity ranking, all the grassroots prodigies in the genius secret realm who were paying attention to the peak of gravity ranking were extremely excited. Another grassroots prodigy has made it onto the peak of gravity rankings. At this moment, an unfamiliar name appeared at the bottom of the peak of gravity's ranking. Many people were watching as Duan Ling Tian and Huan Er's rankings rapidly rose to the middle of the peak of gravity's rankings. Ho Zilong, 2,000th step. Ho Zilong? I've never heard of him. Another grassroots prodigy? I think so. It seems like there are quite a few outstanding grassroots prodigies this time. At the same time, a group of grassroots prodigies who had been paying attention to the peak of gravity and had not attempted to climb the peak of gravity were also inspired to climb the peak of gravity. At this moment, the number of names on the peak of gravity ranking had increased to 22. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian and Huan had already risen to the 4th and 5th place respectively. There were still 3 people in front of them who were slowly closing in on them. The pressure is getting stronger. When he reached the 2,600th step of the peak of gravity, Duan Ling Tian still felt a great pressure even though he had exerted all his strength. Huan you don't have to wait for me. Try your best to climb up. Duan Ling Tian said through voice transmission as he looked at the calm Huan He could tell Huan did not feel too much pressure, so she could walk a little further with ease. All right. When Huan saw the anticipation in Duan Lingtian's eyes, she nodded and continued to climb. A moment later, she surpassed the third place. Then, he overtook the second place. Then, he overtook the first place. Not only was her cultivation base higher than Duan Lingtian, but her comprehension of the law of space had also caught up to Duan Lingtian. Long before he broke through to the immortal Emperor realm, Duan Lingtian had already comprehended all the profundities of the law of space to the minor accomplishment realm. However, if he had not become a celestial lord, he would not have been able to comprehend the profundities of the law to the mastery realm. As for Duan Lingtian, he had only become a celestial lord before he entered the genius secret realm. Therefore, he did not have the time to use the supreme powerhouse divinity to comprehend the law of space. Because of this, she was able to further her comprehension of the law of space with the help of the supreme powerhouse godhead. She even managed to catch up to him. Although the pressure is great, with my current strength, it shouldn't be a problem for me to climb to the 3,000th step. Duan Lingtian continued to climb. It did not take long for him to reach the third place. After all, he was faster than the people he had overtaken. An uproar broke out at the foot of the peak of gravity again. Heavens! Huan is ranked first on the peak of gravity ranking. She's already on the 2932th step. Is she going to challenge the 3,000 step? Based on her current strength, even if she doesn't reach the 3,000 step, the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey clan will definitely extend an olive branch to her. Once she reaches the 3,000 step, even the Thousand Tribulations sword sect won't be able to sit still. Duan Lingtian isn't a pushover as well. He's already ranked third. He's really an embarrassment to us grassroots prodigies. In the genius secret realm, the grassroots prodigies were in an uproar. On the other hand, the prodigies from Grade 1 forces were embarrassed. Many prodigies from Grade 1 forces who had yet to reach the peak of gravity began to climb as well. Moreover, they did not slow down at all. It seems like this is the limit. Although I can teleport up there, I'll definitely be injured by the weight. It's not worth it. When Duan Lingtian arrived at the 2,839th level of the peak of gravity, he did not continue climbing. Instead, he decided to stop here. I'll return after I've comprehended the law of space. The genius secret realm will be open for 10 years. I'll have plenty of chances in the future. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian was no longer in a hurry. He had 10 years left. He was confident he would be able to comprehend the law of space to the mastery stage with the supreme powerhouse divinity. Huan, she's going to climb the 30,000 meters. After giving up, Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze to the higher steps of the peak of gravity. He could see Huan was getting closer and closer to the 3,000th step. She's going up. Duan Lingtian sighed in relief when Huan finally made it to the 3,000th step. Brother Lingtian, the pressure is too great. When Duan Lingtian heard her voice transmission, he could tell she was struggling to speak. Huan, let's give up for now. We'll try again next time. You've done well for now, Duan Lingtian said through voice transmission. Along the way, Duan Lingtian discovered the peak of gravity was not only a test of one's strength, but it was also a test of one's endurance. He and Huan strength was considered outstanding among ordinary celestial lords. However, there were many celestial lords with high cultivation bases in the genius secret realm, including 5 elements celestial lords and 6 stars celestial lords. As for those celestial lords, not only were their profundities on par with Duan Lingtian and Huan, some of them were even stronger. When Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect, set the record as a 6-combo celestial lord, he must have comprehended a profundity to the mastery stage. Most likely, he must have comprehended more than one profundity to the mastery stage. Before climbing the peak of gravity, Duan Lingtian did not have much of an idea about this. However, now that he knew about it, he finally had an idea. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Huan and Duan Lingtian left the peak of gravity and returned to the bottom of the mountain. When the male prodigies saw Huan holding Duan Lingtian's hand, they no longer felt jealous of Duan Lingtian. In fact, They felt only a man like Duan Lingtian was worthy of such an outstanding woman. Brother, you're amazing. Brother, you and this lady are really proud of us grassroots prodigies. Brother, lady, both of you must be grassroots prodigies, right? At the bottom of the peak of gravity, apart from Yu Qian from the Thousand Hands Devil sect, the other grassroots prodigies greeted Duan Lingtian and Huan warmly. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded. I'm here to join a Grade 1 force. With your strength, any Grade 1 force would be willing to accept you. That's right. Upon learning that Duan Lingtian was a grassroots prodigy, the grassroots prodigies present on the scene grew even more excited. At this moment, Yu Qian, the prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil sect, stepped forward and looked at Duan Lingtian and Huan with a smile on his face. Gentlemen, are you interested in joining the Thousand Hands Devil sect? If you're interested, I can recommend you. In Yu Qian's opinion, it would be a great merit if he could recruit these two grassroots prodigies into the Thousand Hands Devil sect. However, he knew they might not be willing to join the Thousand Hands Devil sect. After all, among the Grade 1 forces in the Nando territory, the Thousand Hands Devil sect was not as strong as the ancient Phoenix clan, the Bailey clan, or the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect. If he were in Duan Lingtian's shoes, he would be more willing to join one of the three major forces. The Genius Secret Realm has been open for 10 years. Let's continue watching. Duan Lingtian smiled and politely declined Yu Qian's offer. Brother, this is my soul pearl. If you want to join the Thousand Hands Devil sect, you can look for me at any time. I'm Yu Qian, the third direct disciple of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil sect. Yu Qian left a soul pearl behind for Duan Lingtian before he left. From the beginning until the end, he did not seem to be angry at all. That grassroots prodigy is quite strong as well. He's already at the 2,500th level. He barely made it into the top 10. At this moment, a voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears. He glanced over and saw a name that had just squeezed into the top 10, Ho Zilong. Upon hearing the words of the people around him, he discovered Ho Zilong was also a grassroots prodigy like him. Ho Zilong is quite strong as well. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. At the same time, Duan Lingtian discovered another name was climbing up the stairs at lightning speed. It did not take long for it to overtake his name. Then, it continued to climb until it reached the 3,000th step before it finally slowed down. At this moment, this name pushed Huan out of the second place and took the first place. Feng Chi. It's the ancient Phoenix clan's #1 prodigy under the age of 1,000. Feng Chi. How terrifying. Feng Chi's peak of gravity ranking is terrifying. In just a blink of an eye, she has already climbed to the 3,300th step. However, her speed has slowed down. It seems like it'll be difficult for her to climb to the 3,500th step. At this time, Duan Lingtian learned that Feng Chi was the ancient Phoenix clan's #1 prodigy under the age of 1,000. Most importantly, Feng Chi was a female prodigy. Feng Chi was a woman. Feng Chi. I wonder how Tian Wu is doing in the ancient Phoenix clan? Chapter 32-25. Feng Chi was ranked first on the peak of gravity ranking. Moreover, she had climbed over 3,400 steps. This attracted everyone's attention. Even those who were climbing the peak of gravity paused and stared at the peak of gravity ranking. Feng Chi, 3,432 steps. Feng Chi, 3,433 steps. Feng Chi continued to climb the peak of gravity ranking, but her speed had obviously slowed down. In the end, it took her a dozen breaths to reach the next step. In the end, Feng Chi stopped at the 3,462nd step. But even so, her results were still far ahead of everyone else. Currently, Huan who was ranked second, had only reached the 3,000th step. Amazing! As expected of the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the ancient Phoenix clan, her result is comparable to Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect. That's right. That year, Yu Jiancheng's record was 37,870 meters. That is, he stopped at the 3,787th floor. Now, Feng Chi stopped at the 3,462nd floor. She's only 300 floors away from him. Grassroots prodigies like us can't compare to a prodigy from a grade 1 force. She's amazing. Did you notice? Now, both the first and second place on the peak of gravity ranking are women. Don't tell me men are inferior to two women. As Feng Chi stopped at the 3,462nd step of the peak of gravity and reached the top of the peak of gravity ranking, the people around the peak of gravity in Tianjiao's secret realm started to get excited. Feng Chi was a famous young prodigy in the Nando territory. After all, she was the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the ancient Phoenix clan. However, most people only knew that she was strong, but they had never fought her before. Therefore, they had no idea what she was capable of. Today, however, Feng Chi's result on the peak of gravity ranking gave them a better understanding of her strength. The group of grassroots prodigies who had reached the top because of Huan were more or less disappointed when they saw Feng Chi's strength surpassing all others. Naturally, most of them felt that Huan had done well. Look, another person is rapidly climbing the peak of gravity after reaching the 20,000th step. It's Bailey Hongfei. Bailey Hongfei is the #1 prodigy in the Bailey clan. It is said that his strength is not inferior to Feng Chi's. Let's see how high he can climb in the end. The name that was rapidly rising up the peak of gravity ranking was none other than the #1 prodigy of the Bailey clan, Bailey Hongfei. Bailey Hongfei soon reached the 3,000th step as well. Then, he continued to climb. Soon, his speed slowed down as well. In the end, he stopped at the 3,466th floor of peak of gravity, 4 floors higher than Feng Chi. He's actually 4 levels higher than Feng Chi. Could it be that his strength is stronger than Feng Chi? Many people thought so. Of course, many people didn't think so. Feng Chi got the 362nd floor first. Bailey Hongfei is 4 floors ahead of her. It doesn't mean that he's stronger than her. It's just that he's more motivated because Feng Chi is ahead of him. I think so too. If Bailey Hongfei went up first and Feng Chi went up later, it might be because Feng Chi's ranking is higher than his. Even Duan Lingtian felt the same way. There was only pressure when there was a comparison. After Feng Chi reached the 30,000th floor, it was inevitable that she would slack off since there was no one ahead of her. Bailey Hongfei, on the other hand, must have been obsessed with surpassing Feng Chi. That was why he managed to surpass her by 4 floors. He only managed to surpass 4 floors because of his obsession. I'm afraid Bailey Hongfei is not as strong as Feng Chi. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. After Bailey Hongfei, it had been a long time since another prodigy like him and Feng Chi appeared on the peak of gravity. Half an hour later, Huan was still in 3rd place. Huan, let's go. Duan Lingtian brought Huan away from the peak of gravity. After all, the genius secret realm did not only have the peak of gravity. There were many other places. Brother Lingtian, did you notice that the celestial origin energy in my body seems to have become denser after climbing the peak of gravity? Huan asked. Upon hearing Huan's words, Duan Lingtian sensed the celestial origin energy in his body. Indeed, his celestial origin energy had become denser. It seems like the pressure from the peak of gravity can help one's cultivation as well. Duan Lingtian thought to himself as his eyes glinted. It's said that there's a place in the genius secret realm called the world of laws. One can increase one's comprehension of the laws there by fighting with the formation spirits. Before entering the genius secret realm, Duan Lingtian had learned about this. For this reason, he was very interested in the world of laws. After asking around for directions, Duan Lingtian and Huan finally arrived at the world of laws half a day later. In the genius secret realm, there were not as many worlds of laws as the peak of gravity. There were 99 peaks of gravity in total. On the other hand, there were only 9 worlds of laws. For this reason, when Duan Lingtian and Huan arrived at the world of laws, there were already more than 100 people gathered there. This was because most of them were stuck at the peak of gravity. The world of laws was located in a vast plain. When one arrived at the plain, one could see that there was a separate space where the fluctuations of the laws were different. These spaces that contain the fluctuations of the laws were grouped together to form the world of laws. Every space was independent of each other. Currently, many people were challenging the world of laws. Once one entered the world of laws, a formation spirit with the same cultivation base as one would appear. No matter what profundities one cast, the formation spirit would cast the same profundities. Most importantly, the formation spirit had rich combat experience. It was said that the formation spirit's combat experience was comparable to the combat experience of a celestial emperor. Very few people were able to defeat a formation spirit. In the world of laws, those who could fight a formation spirit to a draw were considered outstanding. Not only would those who defeated a formation spirit be rewarded by the world of laws, but they would also be noticed by many forces. After all, if anyone defeated a formation spirit, a voice would ring in the world of laws, announcing that they had defeated the formation spirit. In the past 10,000 years, the two grassroots prodigies who were invited by the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan were only invited after they defeated the formation spirit. What a beautiful woman! As soon as Duan Lingtian and Huan arrived at the world of laws, a sinister-looking young man dressed in brocade robes walked over to them while waving a fan made of feathers. "I'm Yun Xiao from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Shall we get to know each other?" The young man ignored Duan Lingtian and said with a smile, blocking Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's path. However, Huan Er completely disregarded him. Scram! Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed coldly as he shouted, "Brat, don't tell me you don't know who I am? I'm the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. How dare you offend me?" The young man looked at Duan Lingtian coldly as he said, "I'll give you a chance. Kneel and kowtow 3 times before you leave her. Otherwise, I'll kill you." As soon as the young man finished speaking, a dark light shone from his body, blotting out the sky. The commotion here had alarmed quite a few people as well. Did that purple-clad young man offend Yun Xiao? Not only is Yun Xiao a prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, but he's also the only son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Who's that young man? How dare he offend Yun Xiao? It's not that young man who offended Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao is the one who's looking for trouble. Some people were paying attention to Duan Lingtian and Huan Er when they saw Yun Xiao blocking Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's path. Yun Xiao's strength is above average among the prodigies in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. That purple-clad young man must be a grassroots prodigy. I'm afraid he's in trouble. Many people looked at Duan Lingtian with pity in their eyes. Duan Lingtian and Yun Xiao were at each other's throats, and everyone's attention was on them. At this moment, Huan Er, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, made her move. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Huan Er raised her hand, and a gray light flashed in the air, cutting Yun Xiao into 2. As soon as Huan Er made her move, Yun Xiao stood rooted to the ground, as though he had been struck by lightning. "Those who want to kill Brother Lingtian deserve to die," Huan Er said coldly. Huan Er said coldly as she glanced at Yun Xiao's corpse. Gasp, 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 gasp. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw Huan Er trying to kill Yun Xiao. They stared at Huan Er as if they had seen a ghost. That woman is too strong. That's Yun Xiao, a prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Although he's not the most outstanding prodigy, he's still a prodigy who managed to climb more than 2,300 steps at the peak of gravity. That woman killed him in an instant. Since she dares to kill Yun Xiao, she must have a powerful background as well. Is she from a Grade 1 force? I don't know. Did you hear that? Earlier, she addressed the purple-clad young man next to her as Brother Lingtian. Is he Duan Lingtian? The grassroots prodigy who managed to climb nearly 3,000 steps at the peak of gravity? It's said that Huan Er, who managed to climb 3,000th step of the peak of gravity, is his companion. Could it be that woman? That must be it. My friend just sent me a message saying that Huan Er is a peerless beauty that's hard to come by. Look at her. Have any of you seen a woman who can compare to her in terms of looks? As the onlookers discussed among themselves, they began to speculate about Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's identities. If I'm not mistaken, they're grassroots prodigies, right? 2 grassroots prodigies actually dared to kill Yun Xiao? Killing Yun Xiao is equivalent to offending the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Unless they join one of the 3 strongest Grade 1 forces, it's unlikely they'll survive. If they want the 3 Grade 1 forces to protect them, their strength isn't enough. Chapter 32-26. Perhaps Yun Xiao was strong. However, he was not as strong as Duan Lingtian and Huan Er. At the same time, she unleashed the innate skill that only direct descendants of the Phantom Fox clan's main clan could use. She spread out her psychic energy to distract Yun Xiao. By the time Yun Xiao regained his senses, Huan Er had already raised her hand and killed him. Perhaps Yun Xiao didn't even know how he died until the moment he was killed. Aren't these two a little too careless? They're acting as though nothing has happened. The onlookers soon discovered that while they were worried about Huan Er and Huan Er were walking toward one of the spaces in the world of laws as though nothing had happened. Huan Er, why don't you go in and give it a try? Duan Lingtian said to Huan Er with a smile. If you defeat the formation spirit, apart from announcing it to the entire genius secret realm, you'll also receive a reward. I'm curious to know what the reward is. All right. Huan Er nodded before she entered the space filled with the law of space. Before this, no one had entered this space of law. On the other hand, the other law spaces were more lively. For example, the law spaces of the 5 elements were the most lively. Next were the law spaces of the wind, lightning, and ice laws. As for the spaces that contained the laws of light, destruction, and the 4 supreme laws, apart from Huan Er and Eva who were in the space, there was no one else in the other spaces. However, there was a person fighting the formation spirit in the space containing the law of darkness. The battle was intense, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. Naturally, it was not because his combat experience was on par with the formation spirit. It was because he had something else to rely on. The formation spirit had the same cultivation base and comprehension of profundities as him. In fact, the formation spirit had more combat experience than him. If he had other techniques, the formation spirit would not be able to replicate them. For example, Huan Er. The formation spirit could only replicate Huan Er's cultivation base and comprehension of profundities. However, it could not replicate Huan Er's other techniques as 1,000 Phantoms Ice Fox. It seems like Huan Er wants to increase her combat experience by fighting the formation spirit. At this moment, Duan Lingtian discovered Huan Er did not use any of her 1,000 Phantoms Ice Fox techniques. Instead, she relied on her cultivation base and comprehension of profundities to fight the formation spirit. As time passed, Huan Er gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. What a mysterious formation. Earlier, when she stepped into the lost space, her opponent appeared. At the same time, she and her opponent were isolated in a separate space. During this time, no one could attack Huan Er since she was protected by the laws of the genius secret realm. It was the same for the others as well. Anyone who entered the lost space and fought with the array spirit that was born from the lost space would be isolated and protected. Meanwhile, the news of the death of Yun Xiao, the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, had spread like wildfire. Yun Xiao's. Huan's the woman who killed Yun Xiao. Yun's killed Yun. Yun killed? The grassroots prodigy killed Yun Xiao, the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Demon Sect. Will she be able to survive? Based on her current strength, it's not enough for the ancient Phoenix clan, the Bailey clan, or the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect to protect her. Although the genius secret realm was huge, the speed at which the news spread was extremely fast. Yi Yuchun, who had invited Duan Lingtian and Huan Er to join the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, smiled wryly when he heard about Yun Xiao's death. It seems like they won't be joining the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. However, Yi Yuchun was indifferent to Yun Xiao's death. He was not angry at all. It was clear Yun Xiao and Yi Yuchun were not close even though Yi Yuchun was his father's direct disciple. Yun Xiao is dead? Many young prodigies from Grade 1 forces also learned about Yun Xiao's death. That grassroots prodigy is really bold. Isn't she afraid of death? Although Yun Xiao's strength is mediocre, he's still the young sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Even we don't dare to touch him. However, he was killed by a grassroots prodigy. Rumor has it that Yun Shao provoked the young sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect and was killed instead. It did not take long before more than half of the genius secret realm was talking about Yun Zhao's death. At the same time, Huan Er was still fighting the formation spirit in the world of laws. She seemed to be on the verge of defeat. I thought she'd be able to fight the formation spirit to a draw. However, it seems like I was wrong. If she can't even defeat the formation spirit, there's no way the Bailey clan, Ancient Phoenix clan, and Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect will be interested in her. She'll lose in 30 breaths at most. Many people were paying attention to the battle between Huan Er and the formation spirit since they had witnessed Huan Er killing Yun Shao. They could not help but shake their heads when they saw Huan Er was about to be eliminated. However, at this moment, an aura that was different from the profundities of a law and celestial origin energy suddenly surged out of Huan Er's body. In the next moment, Huan Er's opponent stopped fighting. Huan Er made her move and destroyed the formation spirit with a single blow. The formation spirit was about to defeat Huan Er. However, in the next moment, Huan Er defeated it. She defeated the formation spirit? Heavens! Can someone tell me what's going on? Wasn't she about to lose? Many of the onlookers were aghast. Of course, there were also those who were more observant. They looked at Huan Er with a hint of surprise in their eyes. So she still has other tricks up her sleeve. How unexpected. From the beginning until the end, she was accumulating battle experience. She only used her true strength to defeat the formation spirit in the end. The scene earlier was exactly the same as the scene where she killed Yun Shao. Everyone was shocked. At this moment, a loud and majestic voice rang in the genius secret realm. Congratulations to Huan Er for defeating the formation spirit from the law of space in the world of laws. Defeating the formation spirit in the law world would cause an announcement that would resound throughout the entire genius secret realm, letting everyone know about it. At this moment, Huan Er's name spread throughout the genius secret realm. Those who knew about Huan Er were even more shocked by her strength. Those who did not know about Huan Er now knew that a grassroots prodigy had appeared in the genius secret realm. Congratulations to Duan Lingtian for defeating the formation spirit from the law of space in the world of laws. Not long after Huan Er made the announcement, another voice echoed in the prodigy's secret realm. Duan Lingtian? Everyone in the world of laws shifted their attention from Huan Er to Duan Lingtian. After all, Duan Lingtian had just defeated the formation spirit from the law of space. Although the formation spirit could replicate Duan Lingtian's cultivation base and profundity from the law of space, it could not replicate the profound divine metal, the chaos divine flame, and the chaos divine earth's power. With the power from the 5 divine elements, Duan Lingtian had easily defeated the formation spirit. Similar to the law of the middle realm of the southern heaven ancient realm, external forces were prohibited in the space of the laws of the heaven and earth. Swoosh, swoosh. After Huan Er and Duan Lingtian defeated the formation spirit, the people in the genius secret realm received news that 2 items had appeared in front of them. They were a celestial fruit and a celestial weapon. The celestial weapon was a purely defensive royal-grade celestial weapon. Therefore, it was not attractive to Duan Lingtian and Huan Er. The celestial fruit, on the other hand, was a high-quality celestial fruit that could boost a celestial lord's cultivation base. Huan Er and Duan Lingtian. These 2 grassroots prodigies actually defeated the formation spirit from the world of laws? The grassroots prodigies in the genius secret realm were shocked by Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's achievements. I didn't expect grassroots prodigies like them to exist. So far, 2 grassroots prodigies have defeated the formation spirit. However, none of the prodigies from Grade 1 forces have defeated the formation spirit. While many grassroots prodigies were discussing this, the voice that resounded throughout the entire genius mystic realm was heard again. Congratulations to Yu Tianxing for defeating the formation spirit from the law of space in the world of laws. Yu Tianxing. He was one of the most monstrous prodigies among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. He was also the nephew of Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Yu Jiancheng had always been focused on his cultivation and had never married. For this reason, he treated Yu Tianxing as his own son. It's Yu Tianxing, a prodigy from a Grade 1 force, has finally defeated the formation spirit from the world of laws. Good job, Yu Tianxing. After Yu Tianxing, a few other prodigies from Grade 1 forces managed to defeat the formation spirit from the world of laws. In just a day, more than 10 people managed to defeat the formation spirit from the world of laws. However, Duan Lingtian and Huan were the only grassroots prodigies who managed to defeat the formation spirit from the world of laws. If it was in the past, even if the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect wasn't interested in them, the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey clan would have invited Duan Lingtian to join them. However, they've killed the only son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Based on their strength, the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey clan still haven't made a move. If they accept them, they'll offend the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Although the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey clan aren't afraid of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, they're still Grade 1 forces. They'll have to show some respect to the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Unless Duan Lingtian and Huan display their monstrous strength, they won't be able to protect them. At this moment, Duan Lingtian brought Huan to a secluded place to cultivate. To be more precise, they were comprehending the law of space through the supreme powerhouse divinity. As for Huan she needed to absorb the spirit fruit she had obtained earlier to improve her strength. Before they went to bed, Duan Lingtian glanced at Huan who had just consumed the celestial fruit, and thought to himself, with Huan-Er's foundation, she should be able to become a 4-phenomenon celestial lord in a short time after consuming the spirit fruit. Chapter 32-27. In the genius secret realm, apart from the peak of gravity and the world of laws, there were many other places to test the prodigies. The prodigies from Grade 1 forces were able to achieve outstanding results in each of the places. However, after Duan Lingtian and Huan disappeared, Ho Zilong was the only one left to carry the burden of the grassroots prodigies. Duan Lingtian and Huan haven't appeared in the genius secret realm for 6 years, right? I wonder where they are now. Don't tell me they were killed by the Thousand Hands Devil Sect? Impossible. Even the strongest prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect might be stronger than Duan Lingtian and Huan but it's impossible for him to defeat them if they join forces. In just a blink of an eye, more than 6 years had passed since the genius secret realm opened. However, ever since Duan Lingtian and Huan left the world of laws, they had completely disappeared. It was as though they had left the genius secret realm. At this moment, a black-clad young man with a cold expression on his face could be seen sitting at the peak of a steep mountain in the genius secret realm. A murderous aura was emitted from the young man's body. His sharp eyes were like 2 beams of sword light. On his body, strands of black light were faintly discernible, and then all of them were retracted into his body. I've finally become a 2-form celestial lord. I've also comprehended the law of darkness annihilation profundity to the mastery stage. A rare smile could be seen on the black-clad young man's cold face. It has been 6 years since I entered the genius secret realm. I've been cultivating and comprehending profundities since then. It's time for me to go out and have a look. The black-clothed youth stood up, his gaze like lightning. I wonder how Yu Tianxing of the Taya bloodline will perform. The Tai Yi progeny was one of the progenies in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Currently, the most outstanding prodigy in the Tai Yi progeny was Yu Tianxing, the nephew of Yu Jiansheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Apart from that, Yu Jiansheng was also the leader of the Tai Yi progeny. There were 10 progenies in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. They were Xin Yuan, Zhan Lu, Qi Xiao, Tai Yi, Qixing Long Yuan, Ganjiang, and Mo Xie, Yu Chong, Chun Jun, and Chengying. Duan Lingtian was not aware that there were so many branches in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Otherwise, he would have been shocked. This was because the names of the branches of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect were the 10 great swords in ancient myths and legends. Duan Lingtian would not believe it even if someone said the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect had nothing to do with the 10 great swords in Earth's ancient myths and legends. Let's find a peak of gravity first. Let's see How far away am I from the Jianqing of the past? At the peak of the steep mountain, the black-clothed young man with a cold expression muttered to himself. His entire body flashed, and he was already far away on a blood-red sword light. Soon, he landed at the foot of a peak of gravity. At this moment, there weren't many people left at the foot of the peak of gravity. There were only a dozen people left. This person, what a terrifying aura. As soon as the black-clothed young man appeared at the foot of the peak of gravity, he attracted the attention of a few people who had not climbed the peak of gravity. They could feel the cold and sharp aura emanating from the black-clothed young man. The black-clothed young man stood there like an indestructible sword. No one dared to approach him. Is he here to climb the peak of gravity? A few people watched as the black-clothed young man walked toward the peak of gravity. They could not help but feel excited. How many steps would such a young man reach? Yu Tianxing is ranked first? The black-clothed young man's eyes landed on the ranking of the peak of gravity. With just a glance, he saw the name ranked first. Yu Tianxing, 3,537th step. The black-clothed young man continued to look down. Feng Qi, Bailey Hongfei, Duan Lingtian? The black-clothed young man's eyes narrowed when he saw the name at the bottom of the ranking. At the same time, he, who was originally calm and cold, seemed to have lost his composure. His breathing quickened at this moment. His chest heaved up and down like a bellows. He did not stop for a long time. Could it be him? The black-clothed young man muttered to himself for a while before he regained his senses. Forget it. Why am I thinking so much? If it's really him, I'll have the chance to meet him in the future. A faint smile appeared on the black-clothed young man's face when he finished speaking. The people nearby looked as though they had seen a ghost when they saw the smile on the black-clothed young man's face. He knows how to smile. I thought he always had that coffin-like face. Sure. Lower your voice. Do you want to die? Although they had not seen the black-clothed young man in action before, they could tell he was not a simple person based on his sharp aura. He was not someone they could afford to offend. Whoosh! In the next moment, they saw the black-clothed young man's figure flicker as he soared into the sky on a blood-red sword. In the span of a breath, the black-clothed young man had already reached the 1,000th step of the peak of gravity. In the span of 3 breaths, he had reached the 2,000th step of the peak of gravity. He's so fast. Isn't his speed a little too fast? At this moment, the people who were climbing the peak of gravity and those who were at the bottom of the peak of gravity were shocked by the black-clothed young man's speed. Who's he? He's so terrifying. Unless he's a grassroots prodigy, there's no way he's a nobody from a grade 1 force. He's at the 2,000th step. He's going to leave his name behind. The dozen or so people near the peak of gravity, including those who were at the bottom of the peak of gravity, stopped climbing and stared at the black-clothed young man who was at the 2,000th step. At this moment, the black-clothed young man raised his hand and grabbed a writing brush in the air. Then, he wrote 2 words in the air. At the same time, the dozen or so people near the peak of gravity shifted their attention to the bottom of the peak of gravity. A new name appeared at the bottom of the peak of gravity. Suli, He's Suli, the prodigy from the 1,000 Tribulations, Sword Sex Shadow Support Progeny? He's said to be as strong as Yu Tianxing? It's said that this prodigy from the 1,000 Tribulations, Sword Sex Shadow Support Progeny came from the mundane realm. He obtained the legacy of the Shadow Support Progeny in the mundane realm and was personally brought to the Jade Emperor Heaven by the progeny leader of the Shadow Support Progeny. For the progeny leader of the Shadow Support Progeny to personally bring him to the mundane realm, it seems like his innate talent is terrifying. Of course, it's said that he's only close to 300 years old, but Yu Tianxing is more than 800 years old. What? Suli isn't even 300 years old? What was even more shocking was that after the black-clothed young man called Suli arrived at the 2,000th step, he continued to fly upwards. In the span of 5 breaths, he had already reached the 3,000th step. His speed is too terrifying, right? Suli, the prodigy from the 1,000 Tribulations, Sword Sex Shadow Support Progeny? It's only been 5 breaths since he appeared on the peak of gravity ranking, and he's already at the 3,000th step? Even Yu Tianxing isn't as fast as him, right? Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's said that Su Li's only a one basic celestial lord. Even if you've broken through, you'll only be a two-form celestial lord. Don't forget that he's capable of fighting Yu Tianxing, a five-element celestial lord, when he's only a one basic celestial lord. If he breaks through and becomes a two-form celestial lord, he might even be stronger than Yu Tianxing. That's not necessarily the case. Previously, when they sparred, it's said that Yu Tianxing won. Even if he breaks through, he might not be able to defeat Yu Tianxing. That's right. Since Su Li has improved, Yu Tianxing has as well. At this moment, in front of the peak of gravity in various parts of the genius secret realm, everyone's attention was attracted by the name on the 3000th stair, which was still rising rapidly. Su Li, the prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations, Sword Sect's shadow support progeny. Rumor had it that Su Li was from the Yin Huang realm, the mundane realm where the heavenly emperor of the Jade Emperor Heaven came from. In our Jade Emperor Heaven, there are too many powerhouses from the mundane realm, Yin Huang realm. Although Su Li's performance is not bad, he still has a long way to go if he wants to be mentioned in the same breath as those giants. In any case, even those powerhouses from Yin Huang realm might not be able to surpass Su Li when they were at his age. Even so, Su Li's achievements have something to do with the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's shadow support progeny's legacy in the mundane realm. So what? Don't tell me the other progenies of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect didn't leave their legacies in the mundane realm as well? Aren't the geniuses from the mundane realms mediocre in the Jade Emperor Heaven after receiving their legacies? That's right. Su Li is from the mundane realm. It's a miracle that he's able to reach this stage. Everywhere in the genius plane, most people were talking about Su Li, on a lake in the genius secret realm. A white-clad young man who was walking on the lake as though it was flat ground received a message. His eyes narrowed immediately. In the next moment, his figure flashed before he turned into a sword ray and flew in a certain direction. Senior brother Tianxing? A green-clad young man who was standing next to the white-clad young man was stunned for a moment before he followed after the white-clad young man. When the two of them appeared, they were already hovering in the air near the peak of gravity. They looked at the ranking on the peak of gravity from afar. Currently, the person ranked second was no longer Feng Chi. It was someone else. Su Li, the 3,522nd step. Do you think he can surpass me? The white-clad young man asked the green-clad young man next to him. This Su Li actually ascended such a high flight of stairs? He's only 15 steps away from you. Senior brother Tianxing? The green-clad young man looked at the peak of gravity ranking in shock. Chapter 32:28. He's still going up. Although Yu Tianxing's expression remained calm as he watched Su Li climb up to the 3,523rd step, his eyes narrowed slightly. If Su Li did not appear, he would be the only one in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. However, Su Li had overshadowed him as soon as he appeared. Even his uncle, Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect and the leader of the Tai progeny, thought highly of Su Li. It was as if a child who was surrounded by a group of people suddenly found another child, causing the people who were originally surrounding him to also run and surround that child. Although Yu Tianxing had lived for more than 800 years, he still found it hard to accept. His speed is very slow now. I don't think he'll be able to surpass you, senior brother Tianxing. Although the young man next to Yu Tianxing said this, his expression turned solemn when he saw Su Li's name on the peak of gravity ranking. Senior brother Tianxing, did Su Li make a breakthrough? When he first entered the peak of gravity ranking, he wasn't that strong, right? The young man asked Yu Tianxing. The young man's name was Hejan. He was also a prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. He was the strongest prodigy in the Clear Lu progeny under the age of 1,000 in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. However, compared to Yu Tianxing and Su Li, Hejan was much weaker. Since Hejan was 200 years younger than Yu Tianxing, his innate talent and comprehension skills were not necessarily inferior to Yu Tianxing's. He must have made a breakthrough. Yu Tianxing said confidently, his cultivation base is close to that of a two-form celestial lord. It's normal for him to make a breakthrough after entering the peak of gravity ranking. I wonder if his comprehension of the law of darkness has improved. If it has, perhaps, he'll be able to surpass me on the peak of gravity ranking. Yu Tianxing stared at Su Li's name on the peak of gravity ranking intently. Currently, Su Li's strength had increased by another level. Even if Su Li surpassed him on the peak of gravity ranking, it would be difficult for him to surpass Su Li since he had already done his best. Unless Su Li's strength improved, it would be impossible for him to surpass his current strength. Feng Qi of the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey Hong Fei of the Bailey clan were equal in strength. In fact, Feng Qi was even stronger. However, with Feng Qi as his goal, Bailey Hong Fei performed exceptionally well and surpassed Feng Qi. Later, Feng Qi climbed the peak of gravity again and surpassed Bailey Hong Fei. However, he was different from Bailey Hong Fei. If Bailey Hong Fei's goal was to surpass Feng Qi, then his goal was to surpass his uncle, Yu Jiancheng, the leader of the Taiya progeny and the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Yu Jiancheng had left behind an insurmountable record at the peak of gravity in the Genius Secret Realm, reaching the 3,787th step. This was a record that no one had broken in the past 20,000 years. I don't think that's possible. If he wants to improve his comprehension of the law of darkness, he'll have to comprehend another profundity from the law of darkness to the mastery stage. He sucked in a breath of cold air and muttered, "Nothing is impossible." Yu Tianxing said indifferently, before he appeared, "Would you have believed that a person from the mundane realm could reach this level?" He smiled bitterly. Even he found Su Li's meteoric rise unbelievable. I wonder how the Shadow Support progeny is so lucky to be able to find such a treasure. In truth, the Shadow Support progeny did not have much of a presence among the 10 progenies in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. However, Su Li's appearance made the Shadow Support progeny one of the most popular progenies in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Don't forget that the Shadow Support progeny once had a peerless genius. I suspect Su Li has inherited his legacy. Yu Tianxing said in a deep voice. Senior brother Tianxing, are you talking about the person who left the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect and challenged the Heavenly Emperor of the Jade Emperor Heaven? He sucked in a breath of cold air. Rumor has it that after the person failed to challenge the Heavenly Emperor of the Jade Emperor Heaven, he was severely injured and became a god. However, no one heard anything about him after that. Many people said he went to the realms of gods. He had also heard rumors about the powerhouse from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Shadow Support progeny. He knew the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect was not just a Grade 1 force in the Jade Emperor Heaven. The Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect used to be a heaven-grade force in the Jade Emperor Heaven. It had many titled celestial emperors and was second only to a heavenly emperor's force in the Jade Emperor Heaven. In the Devata realms, regardless of whether it was the Tidal Temple or the Heavenly Emperor Palace, the most powerful force was undoubtedly the Heavenly Emperor's force. There were many titled celestial emperors in the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The palace master of the Heavenly Emperor Palace was the Heavenly Emperor who ruled over the Devata realms. Below the Heavenly Emperor's force were heaven-grade forces. Heaven-grade forces were overlords in their respective Devata realms. Heaven-grade forces had many titled celestial emperors. Some heaven-grade forces even had as many titled celestial emperors as a Heavenly Emperor's force. However, a Heavenly Emperor's force had a Heavenly Emperor who could suppress many titled celestial emperors alone. Below heaven-grade forces were the super Grade 1 forces. A super Grade 1 force would have at least one titled celestial emperor. A force without a titled celestial emperor was only a Grade 1 force regardless of how many celestial emperors it had. The Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect was currently a Grade 1 force. However, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect used to be a heaven-grade force with many titled celestial emperors. That's only a rumor. A hint of respect could be seen in Yu Tianxing's eyes as he spoke. This was the respect he had for the powerhouse from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Shadow Support progeny. In fact, after the powerhouse from the Shadow Support progeny was defeated by our Jade Emperor Heaven's Heavenly Emperor, he was already on the verge of death. In the end, he didn't go to a realm of gods and died. However, it's said that before he died, he left the Devata realm and returned to his hometown, the mundane realm where Suli was before he came to the Jade Emperor Heaven. That mundane realm is called the Yin Huang realm. The heavenly emperor of the Jade Emperor Heaven and many powerful figures in the Jade Emperor Heaven came from there. Yu Tianxing glanced at He Zhan before he continued to say, at that time, due to the powerhouse's death, many forces who wanted to curry favor with the heavenly emperor joined forces to suppress the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Almost all of the titled celestial emperors in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect were killed at that time. After that, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect was forced to leave the Jade Emperor territory and come to the Nando territory. Yu Tianxing could not help but sigh when he reached the end of his sentence. Does this mean the powerhouse from the Shadow Support progeny is a sinner of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect? He Zhan's eyes widened slightly. A sinner? Yu Tianxing glanced at He Zhan indifferently. You better watch your mouth. If my uncle finds out about this, he won't let you off easily. The person my uncle admires the most is the powerhouse from the Shadow Support progeny. It's precisely because Suli is suspected to be that person's successor that eldest uncle takes great care of him. For this reason, he even called me over and told me not to suppress Suli behind his back. Even if I wanted to suppress Suli, I had to do it openly. Otherwise, he wouldn't spare me. A hint of bitterness could be seen on Yu Tianxing's face when he reached the end of his sentence. He regarded his uncle as his father. Naturally, he would listen to his uncle's words. If Suli has really inherited the powerhouse's legacy, doesn't that mean he has inherited the legacy of a god? He Zhan sucked in a breath of cold air. At the same time, his eyes flashed with envy and jealousy. How else do you think he's able to achieve so much even though he's not even 300 years old? Don't forget he's only from the mundane realm. Yu Tianxing said, Senior brother Tianxing, do you think there are no titled celestial emperors in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect? He Zhan suddenly asked such a question. Titled celestial emperors? Yu Tianxing smiled faintly. Celestial emperors can only become titled celestial emperors when their strength reaches a certain level and they pass the test in the title temple. However, is there a lack of titled celestial emperors in the Devata realms who haven't obtained a title from the title temple? Yu Tianxing looked at He Zhan meaningfully when he finished speaking. You're right. He Zhan nodded. In fact, it's not just the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Even the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan have celestial emperors whose strength is comparable to titled celestial emperors who haven't obtained a title from the title temple. As soon as Yu Tianxing finished speaking, he instinctively shifted his gaze to the peak of gravity ranking. With just a glance, his pupils constricted. He Zhan's eyes followed Yu Tianxing's gaze and shifted to the peak of gravity ranking as well. Su Li's name was still in second place. However, after Su Li's name, the number of steps he ascended had already become the 3,536th step. Right now, Su Li was only one step away from Yu Tianxing, who was in first place. Su Li actually managed to ascend to the 3,536th step. He Zhan exclaimed in shock. He Zhan sucked in a breath of cold air before he looked at Yu Tianxing in a daze. Senior Tianxing, it seems like Su Li has comprehended another profundity from the law of darkness to the mastery stage after he came in. It's obvious. Yu Tianxing nodded. His expression was grave as he felt a huge pressure weighing down on him. Meanwhile, more than 90% of the people in the Genius Secret Realm were gathered in front of the peak of gravity. Most of them had already challenged the peak of gravity. They were here to watch the show instead of challenging the peak of gravity again. Su Li is only one step away from catching up to Yu Tianxing. It seems like the two prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect are going to compete on the peak of gravity. Chapter 32-29. In the Genius Secret Realm, the 99 peaks of gravity, which were originally deserted, were bustling with activity at this moment. All of this was because of one person, Su Li, the prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Shadow Support progeny. At this moment, the peak of gravity where Su Li was challenging was filled with people. Numerous gazes shot out from below the peak of gravity and landed on the black figure standing on the 3,536th step of the peak of gravity. Can Su Li ascend another step and be on par with Yu Tianxing? Many people were filled with anticipation. I think so. Based on Su Li's expression, it's obvious he's determined to continue. If he doesn't think there's any chance for him to ascend, he won't waste his time there. Let's wait and see. Su Li is the second prodigy in the Thousand Tribulations sword sect after Yu Tianxing. It's obvious he's more outstanding than Yu Tianxing. In the past, everyone thought Yu Tianxing would be the next sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. However, now that Su Li has appeared, it seems like Yu Tianxing won't necessarily be the next sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. That's not necessarily the case. If Su Li is more outstanding than Yu Tianxing, he might return to the Jade Emperor territory in the future. After all, not everyone wants to be the sect leader of a sect. That's true. In the Devata realms, there are many people who are unwilling to be tied down by a sect. That's why they want to ascend to a higher realm. At the foot of the peak of gravity where Su Li was climbing, not only were there grassroots prodigies, but there were also many prodigies from Grade 1 forces. Bailey Hong Fei, do you think Su Li will be able to ascend another step? As one of them spoke to a young man standing alone not far away, everyone's gazes immediately shifted to the latter. Bailey Hong Fei? The #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the Bailey clan? He was currently ranked 4th on the peak of gravity ranking? Yiwu Dao, don't just ask me. What do you think? Bailey Hong Fei, a young man dressed in a long grayish-white robe, asked indifferently as he glanced at the young man who had asked him the question. Yiwu Dao, the #1 genius of the Profound Sky Dao sect's younger generation and currently ranked 5th on the peak of gravity rankings? Yi Dao Dinier only managed to climb 3 steps less than Bailey Hong Fei. It seems like he's just as strong as Bailey Hong Fei. It's said that Yi Dao Dinier is skilled in the Dao of slaughter. He has killed many people who are stronger than him. In a battle to the death, Bailey Hong Fei might not be a match for him. Shill, keep your voice down. Bailey Hong Fei is here. More and more people were looking at the young man named Leaf Dao Dinier, and whispers could be heard. I think he can go up. Yi Wudao's eyes narrowed slightly as he smiled. Just as Yi Wudao finished speaking, Su Li, who was standing on the 3,536th step of the peak of gravity, finally moved once more. Whoosh! At the same time Su Li flew up, the black power around his body surged like a flood, slamming into the void and lifting him up. Finally, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Su Li stood on an even higher step. He was now on the 3,537th step. Su Li's result was the same as Yu Tianxing's. However, since Su Li was the last to reach the 3rd step, he was still ranked 2nd on the peak of gravity rankings. Even so, it still caused an uproar in the genius secret realm. He's ascended. It seems like Su Li's strength is on par with Yu Tianxing's now. Yu Tianxing is no match for Su Li. Is Su Li really someone who came from the mundane plane? As Su Li ascended the 3,537th step of China's Li Feng, everyone around the peaks of gravity was shocked. He's still there? Is he going to continue? Su Li is going to challenge a higher step? Is he going to surpass Yu Tianxing? Many people around the peak of gravity where Su Li was standing had noticed this. Messages were sent out one after another, and those who were preparing to leave the peak of gravity immediately stopped in their tracks. Su Li wants to challenge a higher step. Is this for real? Earlier, it took Su Li a long time to reach this step. It's obvious he's struggling. Now, he's going to challenge a higher step? Can he really reach the next step? Many people were not optimistic about Su Li's chances of reaching the next step. After all, the higher the step, the harder it was to reach the next step. When it came to the steps that Su Li was on, the difficulty of each step differed greatly. Su Li's only a 1 basic celestial lord, right? Even if he has a breakthrough, he's only a 2-form celestial lord. Even Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect, might not be able to reach Su Li's current step, right? I agree. Yu Jiancheng had set the record when he was a 6-combo celestial lord. Rumor has it that Su Li isn't even 300 years old yet. If the genius secret realm only opens a few hundred years later, Su Li will definitely be able to break Yu Jiancheng's record. The genius secret realm only opens once every 1,000 years. Every time it opens, only celestial lords below the age of 1,000 are allowed to enter. Everyone can only enter once. Suli isn't even 300 years old, but he's already forced to enter. It's really unfair to him. There's nothing unfair about this. It's just fate. In the end, nobody left the 99 peaks of gravity. Except for the peak of gravity where Suli was, all the people near the other 98 peaks of gravity were staring at the ranking board. Suli's name was still shining. In other words, he was still on the peak of gravity. This was because once a person on the leaderboard left the peak of gravity, his name would no longer shine on the leaderboard. Some people who lived near the peak of gravity even rushed towards the peak of gravity where Suli was. They wanted to watch the show in person. Watching Suli climb the peak of gravity was more interesting than watching the ranking. Senior Tianxing, Senior Hejan. At this moment, Yu Tianxing and Hejan appeared near Suli's peak of gravity. At the same time, a valiant-looking young woman bowed and greeted them. Junior Sister Yun, if it weren't for you, Senior Tianxing and I wouldn't have known that Suli is here. Thank you. Hejan thanked the young woman with a smile on his face. The young woman was also a prodigious disciple of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Her name was Yun Yi, but she was not from Hejan, Yutian, or Suli. She was from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Yuchang progeny. She was the most outstanding prodigious disciple in the Yuchang progeny. Of course, her strength was no match for Hejan. Much less Yu Tianxing. There's no need to thank me, Senior Hejan. It's just a small favor. Yuni looked at Yu Tianxing, who was standing next to Hejan with a hint of admiration in her eyes. Yu Tianxing had many admirers in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. However, since he was focused on his cultivation, he did not have any partners. Yun Yi was one of Yu Tianxing's admirers. Senior Tianxing, it's already very difficult for Suli to reach the same height as you. I don't think he'll be able to reach the next height. Yun Yi smiled at Yu Tianxing, senior brother Yun Yi. Don't underestimate Suli. He took less time to reach the 3,537th step from the 3,536th step to the 3,537th step compared to me. Yu Tianxing shook his head when he heard Yun Yi's words. Therefore, it's possible that he won't. Just as Yu Tianxing was about to say that Suli might be able to surpass him in the future, his pupils constricted before he could finish speaking. This was because he saw Suli making a move on the peak of gravity. Suli is making a move. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Suli stepped into the air and turned into a giant sword that was blood and black. Around the giant sword, black fog and blood-red fog intertwined and moved, as if a black dragon and a snow dragon were roaming around the giant sword. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the earth-shattering sound of a sword whistling in the air rang in the air. In the next moment, under everyone's watchful eyes, Suli transformed into a sword and flew up to the 3,538th step. He did not land on the ground, but continued to fly up to the next height. 1, 2, 3. Suli didn't stop until he reached the 3,552nd step, landing on that step. At the same time, the energy on his body dissipated as he stepped into the air and left the peak of gravity. He stepped on a blood-red sword ray and flew away. Everyone could only see the mysterious black figure of Suli's back. Are my eyes deceiving me? Suli has reached the 3,552th step? What's going on? Didn't Suli have a hard time reaching the same height as Yu Tianxing earlier? How did he reach such a high height all of a sudden? Heavens! Even Yu Tianxing has only ascended the 3,537th step. Yet, Suli has already ascended 15 steps more than him. Suli's too terrifying. He's been accumulating his strength since the beginning. He didn't use his full strength earlier. Everyone in the peak of gravity was shocked by Suli's sudden leap of 15 steps. Suli, Yu Tianxing's expression turned solemn as he looked in the direction Suli had left. It seems like he has made a huge breakthrough in the genius secret realm this time. Hejan and Yuni, who were standing next to Yu Tianxing, were stunned as well. They were still staring at the name that was ranked first on the peak of gravity. Suli, 3,552th step. Putting everything else aside, based on Suli's ranking on the peak of gravity, I'm afraid no one in the genius secret realm will be able to break it. I think so too. I thought no one would be able to break Yu Tianxing's record. I didn't expect Su Li to break it. Chapter 32:30. Over the next 2 years, the rankings in the genius secret realm were refreshed. Places like the peak of gravity were refreshed. As for those who refreshed the rankings, they all reached the top of the rankings. The person who refreshed the rankings was none other than Su Li, Duanlingtian. He hasn't appeared since? Su Li muttered to himself as he sat cross-legged on a branch in a gloomy forest. He extended his hand. His hand moved at lightning speed, and a leaf that fell from the sky was instantly sliced into thousands of pieces by countless cold sword chi. Swoosh! The sound of wind whistling rang in the air as Su Li leaped into the air and flew out of the forest on a blood-red sword chi. Meanwhile, in a cave on the side of a remote canyon, 2 figures walked out together. It was a man and a woman. The man was extraordinarily handsome, and the woman was peerlessly beautiful. Huan I didn't expect us to have been in the genius secret realm for 8 years in just a blink of an eye, the purple-clad young man said with a sigh. Brother Ling Tian, you didn't have to stay here with me for so long if you didn't wait for me, the white-clad young woman said apologetically. A woman in snow-white clothes said guiltily. The man and woman were none other than Duan Lingtian and Huan who had been in closed-door cultivation in the genius secret realm for 8 years. Silly girl, I didn't wait for you for nothing. My strength has improved a lot over the past 8 years. Duan Lingtian said with a smile on his face. Now that we're in the genius secret realm, I think we're pretty strong. Let's go out and take a look to see if we can find anything. At the same time, if there's an opportunity to show off, let's wait for the people from the Grade 1 forces to come looking for us. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, he and Huan left the remote valley. Not long after he left the valley, Duan Lingtian saw a gigantic pagoda that occupied a vast area. The gigantic pagoda was 30 stories tall, and it stood there like a giant. Is this a formation spirit pagoda? Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed as he guessed what the giant tower in front of him was. Previously, before he went into seclusion, he had heard some of the geniuses mention the Array Spirit Pagoda. The Array Spirit Pagoda was a huge pagoda that tested the strength of those who entered. Those who entered the Array Spirit Pagoda would not be able to use any external force, just like in the peak of gravity. This Formation Spirit Pagoda record seems to be left behind by Yu Jincheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. It only took him 132 breaths to kill all of the Formation Spirits in the 30-level Formation Spirit Pagoda. Duan Lingtian had learned this from other grassroots prodigies. We've been in seclusion for 8 years, so there are only 2 years left before the genius secret realm ends. I wonder what kind of records the prodigies from the Grade 1 forces have left in the past 8 years. Out of curiosity, Duan Lingtian brought Huan to the Formation Spirit Pagoda. There was a stone tablet in front of the Formation Spirit Pagoda, and Duan Lingtian could see the ranking on it. First place, Su Li? When Duan Lingtian saw the person who ranked first in the Formation Spirit Pagoda was Su Li, a familiar yet distant figure appeared in his mind at the right time. He had a friend who was also called Su Li. However, he had not seen Su Li ever since they parted ways in Yanhuang Realm. Calculating the time, he and Su Li had not seen each other for 200 years. This name is really heartwarming. Although he felt the name was familiar, Duan Lingtian never thought that this Su Li would be that friend of his. Although Su Li's friend had great fortuitous encounters, it was unrealistic for Su Li to break through and become a celestial lord in such a short time. For this reason, Duan Lingtian did not even consider this possibility. Second place, Yu Tianxing. Yu Tianxing is the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, right? Although Duan Lingtian did not see Yu Tianxing's ranking when he ascended the peak of gravity, he knew Yu Tianxing was the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. He was even stronger than Feng Qi from the ancient Phoenix clan and Bailey Hongfei from the Bailey clan. Duan Lingtian continued reading. Third place, Yi Wu Dao. Yiwu Dao is the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the profound Sky Dao sect. Duan Lingtian recognized the other two people who were ranked after Yu Tian Xingfeng Qi Qi and Bailey Hong Fei. Ho Zilong is a grassroots prodigy, and yet, he's ranked in the top 10 of the Formation Spirit Pagoda. Duan Lingtian was familiar with Ho Zilong's name. When he looked at the peak of gravity rankings, Ho Zilong was also ranked in the top 10. So far, Su Li's result is the best. It only took him 141 breaths. Duan Lingtian's eyes glinted when he saw Su Li's result. What a beautiful woman. Could she be Huan Er? Is the purple-clad young man standing next to her Duan Lingtian? They're the ones who killed Yun Xiao, the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. They haven't appeared for 8 years. I thought they were killed by the Thousand Hands Devil Sect's prodigies. I didn't expect them to still be alive. Many people were standing in front of the Formation Spirit Pagoda. More and more people were paying attention to Duan Lingtian and Huan Er. Duan Lingtian and Huan Er had been in closed-door cultivation for 8 years. Now that they had reappeared, it naturally attracted a lot of attention. They're the ones who killed Yun Xiao? Not far away, a blue-robed young man raised his eyebrows and sent a message. Yunyi, the woman who killed your junior brother has appeared. She's in the Formation Spirit Tower you went through before. Similar to the World of Laws, there were only 9 Formation Spirit Pagoda in the Genius Secret Realm. However, more than one person could enter the Formation Spirit Pagoda at the same time. After entering the Formation Spirit Pagoda, each person would enter a separate space in the Formation Spirit Pagoda. They would have to kill all the Formation Spirits on each floor before they could proceed to the next floor. Once they killed all the Formation Spirits on the 30th floor, they would be considered to have cleared the Formation Spirit Pagoda. As long as the prodigies who entered the Genius Secret Realm were not too weak, it would not be difficult for them to clear the Formation Spirit Pagoda. However, it would be difficult for them to clear the Formation Spirit Pagoda in a short time. Huan Er, let's go in and have some fun. Duan Lingtian ignored the onlookers and called out to Huan Er before the duo entered the Formation Spirit Pagoda. After entering the Formation Spirit Pagoda, Duan Lingtian discovered Huan Er had disappeared from his side. However, he was not worried since he knew it was only temporary. He had entered the space in the Formation Spirit Pagoda. The Formation Spirit Pagoda's timer starts as soon as the Formation Spirits appear. Now, let's wait for the Formation Spirits to appear. Although the Formation Spirit had yet to appear, Duan Lingtian's nerves tensed up at this moment. His eyes narrowed. Outside the Formation Spirit Pagoda, a young man dressed in dark blue robes descended from the sky. Where are they? The young man had a cold expression on his face. His eyes were cold, and he exuded a chilling aura that made it seem as though he did not want anyone to get close to him. As soon as he appeared, he asked the young man who had sent the message earlier. It's Yun Yi, the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. A few people recognized Yun Yi immediately. Yun Yi, the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, was currently ranked 7th on the Formation Spirit Pagoda ranking. They've gone in. The young man who was questioned by Yun Yi said as he glanced at the Formation Spirit Pagoda. Good, very good. Yun Yi nodded. His eyes flashed coldly as he said, Then, I'll wait here for them to come out. Yun Yi, why don't we call more people over? They're quite strong. If the two of them join forces, we might not be able to suppress them. The young man who had sent the message earlier suggested, I'll send a message to the other prodigies in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Yun Yi knew Duan Lingtian and Huan Er were strong, so he did not dare to be careless. He quickly sent a message to the other prodigies in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. However, the other prodigies were too far away. It would be impossible for them to come over in such a short time. Yun Yi, why don't we see how long it'll take them to come out? If they're close to you, there's no need to make a move. Yun Yi nodded. All right. Yun Yi nodded. Then, he asked, how long have they been in there? They've been in there for about 30 breaths. Normally, one would have 20 breaths to prepare after entering the Formation Spirit Pagoda. Yun Yi nodded. I'd like to see how long it'll take them to come out. Yun Yi looked at the Formation Spirit Pagoda coldly. When the others saw Yun Yi, They knew he was here for Duan Lingtian and Huan Er. I wonder if those two are a match for Yunyi. Time continued to pass. Swoosh. When a purple figure appeared, many people, including the young man standing next to Yunyi, widened their eyes in shock. How did he come out so quickly? The young man standing next to Yunyi widened his eyes in shock as well. 127 breaths. Heavens! Sect leader Yu Jiancheng of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect is going to break the record that has been held for almost 20,000 years? I didn't think I'd have the chance to witness this. This trip was worth it. This trip was worth it. Soon after, they discovered the person ranked first on the Formation Spirit Pagoda's ranking was no longer Su Li, the prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Duan Lingtian had taken 127 breaths. The record set by the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect 20,000 years ago was 132 breaths. In other words, the time Duan Lingtian spent in the Formation Spirit Pagoda was 5 breaths shorter than the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. After all, it was impossible for one to hold back in the Formation Spirit Pagoda. Under such circumstances, it would be difficult for one to compress one's time. 5 breaths of time. This could already be said to be the difference between heaven and earth. Gulp. Chapter 32-31. Yes. At this moment, the young man who had sent a message to Yunyi had also checked the ranking of the Formation Spirit Pagoda with his divine consciousness. He was shocked when he saw Duan Lingtian had broken the record set by Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Duan Lingtian was simply too heaven-defying. In just a blink of an eye, more than 10 breaths had passed. At the same time, a white figure appeared before everyone's eyes. Brother Lingtian, you came out so quickly? Huan Er asked in surprise when she saw Duan Lingtian. Brother Lingtian, how long did you take? Huan Er, your result is not bad. It only took you 143 breaths to come out. At this moment, Duan Lingtian had already probed Huan Er's ranking with his divine consciousness. Currently, Huan Er was ranked 3rd, behind Su Li, and ahead of Yu Tianxing. Su Li had taken 141 breaths to come out, while Yu Tianxing had taken 144 breaths. He was only 1 breath ahead of Huan Er. Even so, Yu Tianxing was still pushed to the back by Huan Er. He had fallen from 2nd to 4th. She's Huan Er, who killed my junior brother Yun Xiao? Yunyi asked again as he looked at the young man standing next to him. When the young man nodded, Yunyi had already turned into a streak of light and left in a hurry. As for the young man, he also left after Yunyi. Most of the people present on the scene saw that the young man was familiar with Yunyi. If Duan Lingtian and Huan Er pursued the matter, they would find out that the young man had a close relationship with the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. At that time, if the two of them attacked him out of anger, he would definitely die. I didn't expect both of them to be so strong. It has been 8 years since the Genius Secret Realm opened, and one of them has reached the top of the Formation Spirit Pagoda's ranking while the other is ranked 4th. Now, the people who could still refresh the rankings in various places in the Genius Secret Realm were basically very strong people. However, after they refreshed the rankings, there might not be any changes to the rankings. This was because those with strength would have already refreshed the rankings. It's said that the person who set the record will be rewarded with an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Numerous gazes descended onto Duan Lingtian, and many people's eyes even flashed with a wave of envy and jealousy. Duan Lingtian, who was about to leave with Huan Er, was stunned when he heard the conversation. That seemed to be the case. In the Genius Secret Realm, those who managed to break the record would be rewarded with an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Just as Duan Lingtian had this thought in his mind. Whoosh! Along with a burst of strong light that descended from the sky, a 3-foot-long blade with a flowing light revolving around it slowly descended and finally landed in front of Duan Lingtian. It really is an Emperor-grade celestial artifact. With just a glance, Duan Lingtian could tell it was an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. The aura it emitted was similar to the Jasper celestial sword in the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. The 3-foot-long sword was green in color. It emitted a sharp aura even before it landed in Duan Lingtian's hand. With a wave of his hand, the Emperor-grade celestial sword flew into Duan Lingtian's hand. As soon as the Emperor-grade celestial sword appeared in Duan Lingtian's hand, a loud and clear voice rang in the genius secret realm. Congratulations, Duan Lingtian. You've cleared the Formation Spirit Pagoda in 127 breaths. You've broken the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda. Not only would defeating the Formation Spirit in the world of laws be announced, but breaking the record in the Genius Secret Realm would also be announced. Apart from that, the reward for breaking the Formation Spirit Pagoda was an Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Duan Lingtian? He's here again? Heavens! He broke the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda? I remember the record was set by Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. How did he manage to break the record? That year, Yu Jiancheng only took 132 breaths to clear the Formation Spirit Pagoda. However, this Duan Lingtian is even more terrifying. He only took 127 breaths. That's 5 breaths less than Yu Jiancheng. The prodigies in the Genius Secret Realm were shocked when they heard the announcement. They didn't expect to meet someone who had broken the record of the Formation Spirit Pagoda in the Genius Secret Realm this time. After all, that record had been maintained in the Genius Secret Realm for nearly 10,000 years. 8 years ago, Duan Lingtian couldn't even reach the 3,000 step at the peak of gravity. Now, he's breaking the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda? Compared to the peak of gravity, the Formation Spirit Pagoda values one's overall strength more. It seems like he's very strong. Why do I feel like they're not the same person? Although a person's performance at the peak of gravity is not bad, that's all there is to it. However, this person from the Formation Spirit Pagoda broke Yu Jiancheng's record. They're on a completely different level. I agree. Logically speaking, someone who can break the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda should be able to break the record in the peak of gravity as well. That's why Yu Jiancheng broke the record in 2 places. Many people thought the person who broke the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda was different from the person who failed to reach the 3,000th step at the peak of gravity 8 years ago. Duan Lingtian? He broke Uncle's record? Within a valley, Yu Tianxing, who was sitting cross-legged on a stone platform halfway up a mountain, suddenly opened his eyes and revealed an astonished expression. I must get Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Yu Tianxing rose to his feet and sent a message to all the disciples in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect to pay attention to Duan Lingtian's whereabouts. If they found Duan Lingtian, they were to invite Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Before entering the Genius Secret Realm, Yu Tianxing's uncle, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, had told him, Duan Lingtian, if someone broke his record in the Genius Secret Realm, no matter which record it was, he must invite that person to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. It was precisely because of this that Yu Tianxing lost his composure and was at a loss when he learned that someone had broken Yu Jiancheng's record. At this moment, even Su Li had received Yu Tianxing's message. Although they were from different branches of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, they were still disciples of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Therefore, they had exchanged soul pearls before they entered the Genius Secret Realm. Duan Lingtian? When Su Li received Yu Tianxing's message, he was still shocked by the voice that had resounded throughout the entire Genius Secret Realm. 127 breaths? He had entered the Formation Spirit Pagoda a few times a year ago, but his best result was 141 breaths of time. In fact, he had used the same amount of time twice. For this reason, he knew it would be extremely difficult to shorten the time he spent in the Genius Secret Realm by 1 breath unless he improved his strength. This Duan Lingtian is really monstrous, just like that friend of mine. A hint of nostalgia flashed in Su Li's eyes. At the same time, in the air above a lake, there was a beautiful woman in a purple-red robe with a graceful figure. Her autumn eyes shone brightly at the right time. Duan Lingtian? He broke Yu Jiancheng's record? The woman inhaled sharply before she sent out a series of messages. Senior brothers, senior sisters, junior brothers, and junior sisters of the ancient Phoenix clan. Spare no effort to find Duan Lingtian and invite him to the ancient Phoenix clan. The woman was none other than Feng Qi, the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the ancient Phoenix clan. At the same time, Feng Chi sent out a series of messages. Bailey Hong Fei also sent out a series of messages, asking the Bailey clan to pay attention to Duan Lingtian's whereabouts and invite Duan Lingtian to join the Bailey clan. Although the other Grade 1 forces knew their chances of success were slim, they still made their moves. For example, Yu Dao, the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the Profound Sky Dao sect, also sent a message to the other prodigies in the sect to look for Duan Lingtian and invite Duan Lingtian. If there was any Grade 1 force that did not make a move, it would be the Thousand Hands Devil sect. The woman who was so close to Duan Lingtian was the one who had killed Yun Shao, the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil sect. No matter how talented Duan Lingtian was, it was impossible for him to accept Duan Lingtian. Even if he accepted Duan Lingtian, he would lure Duan Lingtian to the Thousand Hands Devil sect and kill him. Duan Lingtian was not so stupid as to willingly follow the Thousand Hands Devil sect to the Thousand Hands Devil sect. That would be tantamount to suicide. Huaner, this is for you. Outside the Formation Spirit Pagoda, Duan Lingtian casually tossed the Emperor-grade celestial sword to Huan as though it was a piece of trash. Thank you, Brother Lingtian. Huan accepted the Emperor-grade celestial sword without any hesitation. She knew her brother Lingtian had a better weapon. Otherwise, she would not have accepted the Emperor-grade celestial sword. He's giving away an Emperor-grade celestial sword just like that? It's no wonder such a beautiful woman is willing to follow him. He's really generous. It seems like he doesn't care about the Emperor-grade celestial sword at all. Who is he? Why would a grassroots prodigy be like him? Many people were shocked by Duan Lingtian's casual act of giving away the Emperor-grade celestial sword to Huan. However, there were also some who were confused by Duan Lingtian's disdain for the Emperor-grade celestial sword. They speculated that Duan Lingtian had an extraordinary background. Duan Lingtian. At this moment, a person stepped forward and cupped his fists at Duan Lingtian. I'm Bailey Kong, a disciple of the Bailey clan. I'd like to invite you to join the Bailey clan. With your innate talent and comprehension ability, the Bailey clan will definitely not mistreat you. We'll provide you with the best resources to nurture you. The person who stepped forward was a young man. Based on his words, it was clear he was a prodigy of the Bailey clan. Duan Lingtian, I'm Lin Ji, a disciple of the Profound Sky Dao sect. The Profound Sky Dao sect welcomes you. If you're willing to join the Profound Sky Dao sect, we'll treat you well. It won't be inferior to the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect, the Ancient Phoenix clan, or the Bailey clan. Chapter 32. Thank you for inviting me, but I haven't decided which force I want to join yet. I'll decide later. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly at the people from the Bailey clan and the Profound Sky Dao sect before he left with Huan. The group of people watched them leave. Only when their figures disappeared from their sight did they regain their senses. It seems like there's going to be another monstrous genius in the Nando territory, a middle-aged man muttered to himself. A grassroots prodigy who broke the record set by sect leader Yu Jiansheng of the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect. How unexpected. Even the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect won't miss such a monstrous genius. Everyone was shocked. They were certain the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect, which had always been cold and aloof, would take the initiative to invite Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect. Indeed, they were right. At this moment, the prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect who were in the genius secret realm were searching everywhere for Duan Lingtian. They wanted to invite Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword sect. On the other side, after Duan Lingtian and Huan left the Formation Spirit Pagoda, they walked in a random direction. Soon after, a familiar yet unfamiliar mountain appeared before their eyes. This mountain peak towered into the clouds. The reason why it looked familiar was because it was exactly the same as the peak of gravity that they had seen before. It was unfamiliar because the location of this mountain was different from the location of the peak of gravity. This mountain was located in a swamp forest at the foot of the mountain. On the other hand, the peak of gravity was located on a plain. The peak of gravity. The mountain in front of them was also a peak of gravity. Although it was located in a swamp forest, it was still very eye-catching. Some of the tall trees in the swamp forest were not worth mentioning in front of the peak of gravity, which was so high that it reached the clouds. Moreover, there was an empty space around the peak of gravity. Previously, when Duan Lingtian and Huan arrived at the peak of gravity, they saw dozens of people. However, this time, they only saw 3 people. The 2 of them stood at the foot of the peak of gravity, watching one person climb the peak of gravity. I wonder which level third brother will be able to reach this time. He won't be able to leave his name on the peak of gravity if he reaches the 2000th level. The middle-aged man shook his head and sighed. Third brother is too stubborn. His best result before this was the 1965th level. If he wants to surpass the 35 level gap, he'll have to improve his strength. The other young man also shook his head and sighed. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, 2 figures appeared out of thin air at the foot of the peak of gravity, attracting their attention. Their attention was immediately drawn to Huan Er's flawless face. These 2, aren't they Duan Lingtian and Huan Er? Who else could it be but Huan Er in the genius secret realm? After a brief conversation, the 2 young men quickly figured out the identities of Duan Lingtian and Huan Er. After all, Huan Er's face was very recognizable. In the genius secret realm, no one had ever seen anyone who could compare to Huan Er in terms of looks, let alone someone who was prettier than her. Could this Duan Lingtian be the Duan Lingtian who broke the record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda? The young man muttered to himself, I don't think so. Duan Lingtian couldn't even reach the 3000th step in the peak of gravity. It has only been 8 years. How strong can he be? The middle-aged man shook his head. At this moment, Duan Lingtian and Huan Er arrived at the peak of gravity again. Huan Er, shall we compete? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile on his face. Sure. As soon as Huan Er finished speaking, the 2 young men at the foot of the peak of gravity discovered that Duan Lingtian and Huan Er had vanished from their sight. Teleportation? This thought appeared in their minds at the same time. It wasn't that no one used teleportation to climb the peak of gravity, but if one used teleportation to reach a high place, it would be very uncomfortable. He might as well climb up one level at a time. That way, he would be able to go further. When Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's names lit up on the peak of gravity leaderboard, the 2 people at the foot of the mountain looked up, and their pupils constricted. This was because they discovered that in just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian and Huan Er appeared on the 3000th step. With a single teleportation, he crossed 3000 steps. At the same time, Duan Lingtian's ranking on the peak of gravity was pushed behind Huan Er. As for Huan Er, her previous record was the 3000th step, so her position did not change this time. However, even so, the 2 people below the peak of gravity were still shocked. Heavens! They just teleported to the 3000th step. That's 30,000 meters of the peak of gravity. It's understandable if it's Huan Er. After all, she once climbed the 3000th step. However, what's up with Duan Lingtian? 8 years ago, he couldn't even climb the 3000th step, and now, he's able to do it with just a single teleportation? Huan Er's body swayed a little, but Duan Lingtian's body didn't move at all. It's as though he didn't feel any pressure at all. The 2 people at the foot of the peak of gravity were shocked when they saw Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's current state. At the same time, the people at the other 98 peak of gravity also noticed the changes in the peak of gravity leaderboard. Duan Lingtian? Huan Er, they're challenging the peak of gravity again? Duan Lingtian has also climbed the 3000 step? Didn't they say that Duan Lingtian and the Duan Lingtian, who broke the Formation Spirit Pagoda, are not the same person? As the people at the foot of the peak of gravity discovered Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's names, the peak of gravity became lively again. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Outside the genius secret realm, the prodigies who were busy with their own matters began to make their way to the peak of gravity curiously when they heard the news. Suli is ranked first as well. Duan Lingtian's celestial origin energy that had been boosted with the law of space's fundamental profundity, the space elemental profundity, surged out of his body and easily withstood the pressure from the peak of gravity. Only at this moment did he pay attention to the peak of strength ranking and discover that Su Li was also the one who had left his name at the top of the peak of gravity list. Suli was ranked first on the peak of gravity leaderboard since he had climbed the 3,552nd step. Suli is quite strong. I didn't expect him to be a prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect as well. I thought he was just a grassroots prodigy. Earlier, when he was outside the Formation Spirit Pagoda, he had heard people talking about Suli. At that time, he learned Suli was also a prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. Based on the current situation, Suli was even stronger than Yu Tianxing, who was widely acknowledged as the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. Meanwhile, Huan who was standing near Duan Lingtian, finally caught her breath. Huan let's continue. Duan Lingtian bade farewell to Huan before he continued to climb the peak of gravity. His speed was so fast that the two prodigies at the foot of the peak of gravity were dumbfounded. He's still so fast after climbing the 3,000th step? The two prodigies were shocked to see Duan Lingtian climbing the 3,300th step at an extremely fast speed. Although he had slowed down a little, he was still very fast. It was only when Duan Lingtian reached the 3,500th step that his speed began to slow down. At the same time, Huan speed began to slow down when she reached the 3,300th step. Could it be that Duan Lingtian concealed his strength 8 years ago? Isn't it obvious? Duan Lingtian is ranked second on the peak of gravity ranking. Moreover, it seems like he's doing it with ease. He must have hidden his strength 8 years ago. When the crowd saw Duan Lingtian's name had surpassed Yu Tianxing's, they were certain that Duan Lingtian was ranked second on the peak of gravity ranking. Duan Lingtian, who challenged the peak of gravity 8 years ago, was the same person who broke the record set by Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect, in the Formation Spirit Pagoda. I wonder if Huan has grown stronger in the past 8 years, or if she hid her strength back then. She's almost at the 3,400th step now. Many people noticed Huan rapid rise in the peak of gravity ranking. He surpassed Duan Lingtian. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Duan Lingtian's name rose to the top of the peak of gravity ranking, surpassing Su Li. Su Li's record was at the 3,552nd step. Currently, Duan Lingtian had reached the 3,553rd step. However, Duan Lingtian was still climbing the peak of gravity ranking. Step by step, is Duan Lingtian going to challenge the record set by Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect? Many people felt chills running up their spines when they saw this. Their eyes lit up as they looked at Duan Lingtian, who had reached the top of the peak of gravity ranking. Will he be able to create another miracle? I think it's possible. After all, he broke Yu Jiancheng's record in the Formation Spirit Pagoda and surpassed Yu Jiancheng's record by quite a bit. It shouldn't be difficult for him to break Yu Jiancheng's record. I agree. Whether it's the Formation Spirit Pagoda or the peak of gravity, it's all about strength. That's why Yu Jiancheng was able to set the record in both places. If Duan Lingtian manages to break Yu Jiancheng's record, he'll be acknowledged as the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the Nando territory. At this moment, many people were looking forward to Duan Lingtian breaking Yu Jiancheng's record again. Duan Lingtian is really strong. Yu Tianxing and He Zhan appeared in the air near the peak of gravity again. He Zhan could not help but click his tongue when he saw the name that had reached the top of the peak of gravity ranking. Senior brother Tianxing, do you think Duan Lingtian can break the highest record set by the sect leader at the peak of gravity? He Zhan asked Yu Tianxing. Chapter 32-33. When he broke the record of the peak of gravity, I'm not sure if he would have been able to break the record of the peak of gravity if he had only taken 1 breath less than Uncle. In response to He Zhan's question, Yu Tianxing looked at the name at the top of the peak of gravity ranking and replied. However, the time he took to pass the Formation Spirit Pagoda was 5 breaths shorter than Uncle. This also means that his strength is much stronger than eldest Uncle's from back then. With his strength, it's not difficult for him to break Uncle's peak of gravity record if he wants to. As though Yu Tianxing's words were true, Duan Lingtian managed to ascend to the 3,600th and 3,700th steps in just a blink of an eye, even though his speed had slowed down. When he reached the 3,700th level, his speed slowed down further. However, he still easily reached the 3,788th level, successfully breaking Yu Jincheng's record from back then. He broke the record again. Yu Jincheng's record has been held by the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect for almost 10,000 years. Moreover, both of his records were broken by Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian is definitely the #1 prodigy in the Nando territory. Yu Tianxing? Su Li? I feel like none of them can compare to him. The difference is too big. Su Li should be fine, right? After all, he's not even 300 years old yet. Duan Lingtian might be 800 or 900 years old, just like Yu Tianxing, you're right. Su Li's potential isn't something he can compare to. Duan Lingtian's achievement of breaking Yu Jincheng's record at the peak of gravity caused an uproar in the genius secret realm once again. Naturally, many people had expected Duan Lingtian to break the peak of gravity record. After all, the peak of gravity was similar to the formation spirit pagoda. Both of them tested one's strength. As long as one was strong enough, one could easily break the record in both places. This was the same case for Yu Jincheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. However, it was obvious Duan Lingtian was much more terrifying than Yu Jincheng. He still plans to continue to challenge higher levels? When they realized that Duan Lingtian's name was still flashing, the people near the peaks of gravity were shocked. That Huan reached the 3,539th level, one level higher than Yu Tianxing's. At the same time, many people discovered that Huan had already left the peak of gravity. She had surpassed Yu Tianxing, the prodigy of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect, and was ranked 3rd on the peak of gravity ranking. Yu Tianxing is really unlucky. The formation spirit pagoda was pushed down by Huan by a breath's time, and the peak of gravity was pushed down by Huan by 2 steps. Many people couldn't help but sigh, feeling that Yu Tianxing was unlucky. However, their words were quickly refuted by others. What do you mean by unlucky? That's strength, okay? A single breath of time in the formation spirit pagoda isn't that simple. Also, everyone has a limit on the peak of gravity. Could it be that you have the confidence to reach a level higher than your limit? No matter what, no one doubted that she was stronger than Yu Tianxing. Of course, the strength mentioned here was pure strength and did not include other external forces. After all, external strength such as celestial talismans, celestial pills, and celestial weapons were prohibited in the peak of gravity and the formation spirit pagoda. One could only rely on one's own strength. If it were not for the peak of gravity and the formation spirit pagoda, no one would dare to say that Huan was a match for Yu Tianxing. After all, Yu Tianxing was the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. Even if Yu Tianxing fought Su Li outside, Su Li might not be able to do anything to him if Yu Tianxing used all his strength. Everyone was well aware of this. Duan Lingtian is too strong. I wonder how many more levels he'll be able to reach? Everyone who was in front of the peak of gravity was shocked when they saw Duan Lingtian ascending to the 3,800th level. Even those who were not in front of the peak of gravity were shocked. About an hour later, Duan Lingtian finally stopped and did not continue to challenge. At this time, he had reached the 3,922nd floor, which was a height of 39,220 meters. His record had surpassed Yu Jincheng's record by more than 100 levels. It was truly heaven-defying. Rumor has it that those who break 2 records in the genius secret realm will be rewarded with a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Many people were envious when they thought about this. Among Emperor-grade celestial weapons, offensive celestial weapons were extremely rare. Among the group of prodigies who entered the genius secret realm, it was likely that none of them possessed a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Who would not be envious when they found out Duan Lingtian would be rewarded with a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon? At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who had left the peak of gravity and was standing next to Huan also received his reward. It was a flexible armor. A purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he confirmed the soft armor in his hand was a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Then, he passed the soft armor to Huan. However, Huan did not accept it. Brother Lingtian, You don't have a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. You should keep it for yourself. Previously, Huan had accepted Duan Lingtian's Emperor-grade celestial sword because she knew Duan Lingtian had the 7 orifices exquisite sword. However, she was unwilling to accept a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. In the end, Duan Lingtian could not persuade Huan to accept the soft armor. He decided to give it to her when he obtained another purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. Brother Lingtian, where should we go next? Huan asked Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian looked at the others at the foot of the peak of gravity and asked in a loud voice, "Everyone, do you know where we can break the record?" Now that Duan Lingtian had broken 2 records in the Genius Secret Realm and obtained 2 Emperor-grade celestial weapons, he could finally taste the sweetness of victory. Now, he really wanted to find some places where he could break records and challenge them. If he could break a few more records, he might be able to obtain a few more Emperor-grade celestial weapons. At this moment, there were more than 2 people at the foot of the peak of gravity. Many people had come to inquire about the peak of gravity. At this moment, there were dozens of people gathered at the foot of the peak of gravity. There are many places where we can break the record. However, the records in those places can't be broken by strength alone. A middle-aged man stepped forward and said to Duan Lingtian, "That's right." Another middle-aged man chimed in, "Even Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, only managed to break the record at the peak of gravity and the Formation Spirit Pagoda. As for the records in other places, he didn't manage to break the record at all. It's not that difficult to break the record at those places." Many people reminded Duan Lingtian that although there were many records that could be broken, they could not be broken by strength alone. Who can lead the way? Duan Lingtian did not think it was necessary for him to break the record. He only wanted to broaden his horizons. There's a place called the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation nearby. You can break the record there. A young man chimed in. The 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation? Many people gasped when they heard the young man's words. The 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation in the Genius Secret Realm. Those who can come out within a limited time will be ranked on the ranking. Based on this, it's obvious that it's not simple. When I entered the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation 2 years ago, no matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find the way out. In the end, I had no choice but to wait for the time to be up. The highest record for the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation was set 100,000 years ago, right? The person who set the record was a prodigy from the Profound Cat Clan. The Profound Cat Clan specializes in illusory formations. Their prodigies are born with the ability to create illusory formations. I remember the person who came closest to setting the record was a prodigy from the Phantom Fox Clan. That prodigy is a direct descendant of the Phantom Fox Clan in the Jade Emperor Heaven. Her name is Du Xian. I remember her name as well. She's a woman. Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes as he instinctively turned to look at Huan who was standing next to him. As expected, when Duan Lingtian looked at Huan tears welled up in her eyes. Mother. Huan mother's name was Du Xian. Duan Lingtian had learned about this when he met Huan great-aunt, Du Fei, in the borderlands of the Southern Heaven Territory. For this reason, he immediately thought of Huan mother when someone mentioned Du Xian. Huan you'll meet your mother sooner or later. Don't worry. Duan Lingtian comforted her. Moreover, the Phantom Fox Clan's Du Clan is in the Jade Emperor Heaven. Once you become a Celestial Emperor, I'll accompany you there to see if your mother is there. All right. Huan mood improved when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Then, she said to Duan Lingtian, Brother Lingtian, I'd like to have a look at the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded. A hint of mockery could be seen on his face as he said, It seems like you're going to break the record for the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation. Duan Lingtian had only heard about the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation recently. However, based on the discussions in the surroundings, it was not difficult for him to figure out that the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation was a place where illusory formations were set up. As a rare Thousand Phantoms Ice Fox in the Phantom Fox Clan, she was naturally immune to illusory formations. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the 10,000 Elephants illusory formation was nothing to Huan Er. Where's the 10,000 Elephants illusory formation? Duan Lingtian asked, curiously, as he looked at the person who had brought up the 10,000 Elephants illusory formation. The person enthusiastically led Duan Lingtian to the 10,000 Elephants illusory formation. While Duan Lingtian and Huan Er were making their way to the 10,000 Elephants illusory formation, the people in the vicinity of the Peak of Gravity followed them. Chapter 32-34. The 1,000 Elephants illusory formation was located in a vast valley. Anyone who entered would be able to challenge the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. However, when a group of people arrived to watch Duan Lingtian challenge the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation, they discovered that Duan Lingtian did not enter the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. On the other hand, Huan Er, who was next to Duan Lingtian, had entered the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. Duan Lingtian, why isn't he going in? The group of people who followed Duan Lingtian to the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation could not help but feel puzzled when they saw that Duan Lingtian had no intention of entering the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. The person who's currently ranked first in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation is Ho Zilong. The 1,000 Elephants illusory formation's ranking was formed by the white clouds outside the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. Su Li is only ranked 6th. Yu Tianxing is ranked 8th. As for Feng Qi, she's ranked 4th. At the same time, Duan Lingtian also saw a few prodigies from Grade 1 forces in the top 10 of the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. However, even someone as strong as Su Li was only ranked 6th. Moreover, there was a huge gap between him and the person ranked 1st. Ho Zilong only spent 7 days, 5 hours, and 15 minutes to clear the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. Su Li, on the other hand, spent 16 days to clear the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. Although Ho Zilong was ranked in the top 10 of the Peak of Gravity and the Formation Spirit Pagoda, he was ranked at the bottom. This showed that he was much weaker than Su Li. However, he was ranked first in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. This showed that he was skilled in illusory formations. Either that, or he was born immune to illusory formations. What's the highest record in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation? Duan Lingtian asked the person who brought them there curiously. He knew the highest record was set by a prodigy from the Profound Cat Clan from 100,000 years ago. The Profound Cat Clan was similar to the Phantom Fox Clan in that they were skilled in illusory formations. However, unlike the Profound Cat Clan who specialized in breaking illusory formations, the Phantom Fox Clan specialized in setting up illusory formations. Because of that, the two clans were like natural enemies. Furthermore, in the Jade Emperor Heaven, the two clans were constantly fighting each other. 3 days and 1 hour. The person Duan Lingtian asked answered in a timely manner. 1 hour and 3 days? The corner of Duan Lingtian's mouth twitched slightly. Wouldn't that mean that he would take less than half the time compared to Ho Zilong, who was currently ranked first? I wonder if Huan Er will be able to break her record. Previously, Duan Lingtian was confident that he would be able to defeat Ho Zilong. However, now that he knew the gap between Ho Zilong and the prodigy from the Profound Cat Clan from 100,000 years ago, he no longer dared to think that way. Time passed quietly. After about 3 hours, someone finally couldn't help but ask Duan Lingtian, "Duan Lingtian, are you still not going in?" "Me?" Duan Lingtian was stunned at first, then shook his head. "I don't plan to go in." "You don't plan on going in?" Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, everyone was dumbfounded. What were they doing here? Weren't they here to watch Duan Lingtian challenge the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation? However, Duan Lingtian said he wasn't interested in it. Let's disperse. As it turns out, Duan Lingtian has no intention of entering the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. A middle-aged man shook his head and turned around to leave. I was waiting for Duan Lingtian to challenge the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation, but I didn't expect him to have no intention of entering at all. If he doesn't want to enter, what's the point of waiting? Let's go. Just as the crowd was about to leave, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. Everyone felt as though their feet were filled with lead, and they could not move an inch. This was because the person who appeared in front of them was none other than Huan Er. Huan Er. Duan Lingtian was stunned when he saw Huan Er. He knew what this meant. It meant that she had cleared the Thousand Elephants illusory formation. However, it had only been 3 hours since she had entered the Thousand Elephants illusory formation. Only those who successfully clear the Thousand Elephants illusory formation will be able to leave the Thousand Elephants illusory formation. Otherwise, they'll be trapped inside for a month. She only took 3 hours to come out? Doesn't this mean she only took 3 hours to clear the Thousand Elephants illusory formation? 3 hours. That's impossible, right? 3 hours? Even the prodigy from the profound cat clan from 100,000 years ago took 3 days to clear the Thousand Elephants illusory formation. How's that possible? Did she fail to clear the Thousand Elephants illusory formation? Did she find a way to come out earlier? Huan Er's return from the Thousand Elephants illusory formation shocked everyone. Even those who were about to leave turned around when they saw Huan Er's return. Those who had left the Thousand Elephants illusory formation turned around when they heard Huan Er had returned. Why don't we look at the ranking to see if she cleared the Thousand Elephants illusory formation? If she really cleared the Thousand Elephants illusory formation and didn't find a way to come out, her name will definitely be on the ranking. Upon hearing this, everyone, including Duan Lingtian, shifted their attention to the 10,000 Elephants illusory formations ranking. Ho Zilong was no longer ranked first in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation, but Huan Er. Huan Er, 3 hours. When the onlookers saw Huan Er's name and the time next to it, they were dumbfounded. This is real? At the same time, the people outside the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation were dumbfounded as well. When the people in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation followed Duan Lingtian to the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation, they had also received news that Duan Lingtian was going to the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. For this reason, they had all gone to the nearest illusory formation. Initially, they thought they would be able to see Duan Lingtian clear the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. However, they did not expect to see the ranking of the woman next to Duan Lingtian. Huan Er was ranked first. Huan Er only spent 3 hours to clear the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. 100,000 years ago, the prodigy from the profound cat clan took 3 days to clear the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation. Huan only spent 3 hours? Heavens! This record is heaven-defying. Who's going to break this record in the future? The record of 3 days has been maintained for 100,000 years. How long will the record of 3 hours last? 1,000,000 years? How terrifying. This is too terrifying. Huan Er's achievement in the 1,000 Elephants illusory formation shocked everyone. Even the prodigies from the various Grade 1 forces were shocked. Initially, they thought Duan Lingtian was monstrous enough. However, they did not expect the woman next to Duan Lingtian was equally monstrous. How did she do it? Many of them still found it hard to believe. Some even wondered if they were dreaming. After all, 3 hours was too long. Even when Duan Lingtian broke the record set by Yu Jiancheng, the sect leader of the 1,000 Tribulations sword sect, and the peak of gravity, it was not as shocking as Huan Er's achievement. Firstly, Huan Er had broken the record that had stood for 100,000 years. Secondly, the record that had stood for 100,000 years was nothing compared to what Huan Er had just achieved. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian had only surpassed Yu Jiancheng by a few breaths in the Formation Spirit Pagoda and more than 100 steps in the Peak of Gravity. 3 hours. 3 days. How many times was the difference? I didn't expect to witness 3 records being broken in the Genius Secret Realm. This is only the 3rd time in the Genius Secret Realm's hundreds of thousands of years of history, right? Indeed, it's the 3rd time. I remember there's a legend in the Genius Secret Realm that if the highest records in 3 places are broken in the 10 years the Genius Secret Realm is open, the God's secret treasure in the Genius Secret Realm will open? God's secret treasure? That's just a legend, right? It's said that God's secret treasure is a ruin that once led to a realm of gods in the Genius Secret Realm? I think so. Rumor has it that the 1,000 Tribulations sword sect discovered that place. They joined forces with the powerhouses of the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan to open a path to that place. Many people began to recall the legend of God's secret treasure in the genius secret realm when Duan Tian and Huan broke the records. However, most people thought it was just a legend. 3 records have been broken. It seems like God's secret treasure will be opened soon. I never thought that Yu Tianxing, would be able to see this day. Yu Tianxing and He Zhan stood together outside a 10,000 elephants illusory formation. At this moment, Yu Tianxing's eyes were filled with excitement. Senior brother Tianxing, it seems like we'll have a chance to see God's secret treasure. It's said that God's secret treasure is a holy land for cultivation. I can't wait to see it. He Zhan's eyes were filled with anticipation as well. Others might think God's secret treasure was just a legend. However, as prodigious disciples of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, they knew God's secret treasure was not just a legend. The God's secret treasure really did exist. Moreover, it was the ruin of a realm of gods. Back then, the powerhouses of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, the ancient Phoenix clan, and the Bailey clan had opened a path to the ruin. In order to stabilize the ruin, they had created a little world above it. When the powerhouses from the 3 Grade 1 forces entered the ruin, it had almost collapsed. Later on, they discovered that the ruin would not be affected as long as it was not a celestial emperor. For this reason, they only allowed celestial lords to enter the genius secret realm. However, if they only allowed celestial lords to enter, some powerful celestial emperors would still be able to enter. For this reason, they set up a formation that restricted those above the age of 1,000 from entering the genius secret realm. With this, almost all celestial emperors could enter the genius secret realm. After all, in the history of the Devata realms, there were only a few celestial emperors below the age of 1,000. The formation at the entrance of the genius secret realm that restricts those above the age of 1,000 is from the Tidal Temple. Even the most powerful titled celestial emperors won't be able to break it. The legendary gods might be able to break it, but once they break it, the genius secret realm will collapse, and the ruin will cease to exist. After listening to their explanation, Duan Tian learned about the God's secret treasure in the genius secret realm. Chapter 32-35. Previously, Duan Tian had heard from the Chaos Divine Flame that even a supreme expert who had created a divine realm would die. After the death of a supreme expert, the realm of gods that he had created would be destroyed by the supreme expert who had killed him. This was because only 18 realms of gods could exist in this world. If the old realms of gods did not disappear, the new realms of gods would not appear. Are there really ruins of realms of gods in this world? Duan Tian could not help but ask the profound divine metal, Chaos Divine Flame, and Chaos Divine Earth in his body. The Chaos Divine Earth's words still rang in his mind. This world can only hold 18 realms of gods at most. If a new supreme expert is born, as long as he kills another supreme expert, he'll be able to destroy the other supreme expert's realm of gods and create his own realm of gods. On the other hand, if he's killed by another supreme expert, he'll die, let alone create his own realm of gods. In response to Duan Tian's question, the Chaos Divine Flame was the first to answer. Of course, a realm of gods is created by a supreme expert. It's not difficult for a supreme expert to destroy a realm of gods. All he has to do is destroy its core. However, if a supreme expert wants to destroy a realm of gods, he won't waste his energy to destroy the entire realm of gods after destroying its core. First, it's not necessary. After all, after destroying the core of another supreme expert's realm of gods, the realm of gods will be destroyed, and the supreme expert will be able to create a new realm of gods. Second, if a supreme expert destroys the core of a realm of gods before destroying the entire realm of gods, it'll take a lot of effort even for a supreme expert. For this reason, it's rare for a supreme expert to destroy another supreme expert's realm of gods after destroying the other supreme expert's realm of gods. Under such circumstances, a realm of gods that has lost its core will begin to wander about in spatial turbulence. In the end, it'll fall to the bottom of the river like a stone and stay there forever. That's where the ruins of a realm of gods are located. If the celestial emperor is powerful enough, He'll be able to open up a passage to the realm of gods in his little world. Duan Ling Tian continued to say, it's possible for celestial emperors to discover the ruins of realms of gods when they establish little worlds. However, if a celestial emperor enters the ruins, the realm of gods that has lost its core won't be able to withstand the pressure from the celestial emperor and will self-destruct. Therefore, what they said is true. The genius secret realm has a passage that leads to the ruins of a realm of gods. After all, there's no smoke without wind. The chaos divine flame's origin. Boy. At this moment, the chaos divine Earth's childish voice rang in the air. Boy, if that's really a realm of gods, you're in for a treat. After all, the cultivation environment in the ruins of a realm of gods is incomparable to any place in the Devata realms. In the Devata realms, even if you have the divine tree of life to help you cultivate, the heaven and earth spirit energy in the Devata realms is limited. Once you enter the ruins of a realm of gods, with the help of the divine tree of life, your cultivation speed will increase by dozens or even hundreds of times. The chaos divine Earth's childish voice grew louder as it continued to say, moreover, the speed of comprehending the various laws in the realms of gods will increase as well. If low-level 5 divine elements like us enter the ruins of a realm of gods, we'll be able to absorb the 5 elemental energy in the ruins to improve our strength. A hint of excitement could be heard in the chaos divine flame's true god's realm. Moreover, there must be many god weapons in the ruins of the realm of gods. This is because when a supreme powerhouse kills another supreme powerhouse and destroys the core of the realm of gods, the core of the realm of gods will release a terrifying energy that annihilates all living beings in the realm of gods. Most of the living beings in the realm of gods possess divine weapons. After they die, their divine weapons will naturally be left behind in the ruins of the realm of gods. However, it won't be easy to find divine weapons. After all, when the realm of gods was destroyed, the seawater poured in, and heaven and earth were turned upside down. Even if there are divine weapons, no one will know where they are buried. One can only rely on luck to find them. Of course, this is only true for ordinary people. You have the 7 Orifices exquisite sword, and that girl has become the sword soul of the 7 Orifices exquisite sword. As the sword soul of the 7 Orifices exquisite sword, she's very sensitive to other divine weapons. She'll be able to detect divine weapons as long as there's a divine weapon nearby. The chaos divine flame paused for a moment before it said enviously, sometimes, I can't help but envy you. Your luck is heaven-defying. After listening to the chaos divine flame and the chaos divine flame's words, Duan Ling Tian knew the god's secret treasure was not just a rumor. The god's secret treasure was real. Just as Duan Ling Tian was thinking about this, a loud voice rang in his ears. It was the same voice that had made the announcement many times in the genius secret realm. The voice was loud and clear, and it reverberated in the ears of the prodigies in the genius secret realm. The god's secret treasure will open in 6 months. His voice reverberated throughout the entire genius secret realm, causing the group of supreme talents inside to be a little dazed. After a moment, they regained their senses and were somewhat ecstatic. The god's secret treasure is not just a rumor, it really exists. The god's secret treasure is really in the ruins of the land of gods. It's said that not only are there divine weapons everywhere in the ruins of the land of gods, but there are also divine beasts' remains. Those are all good stuff. I heard the heaven and earth spirit energy in the ruins of the realm of gods is much denser than in the Devata realms. It's much easier to cultivate there. It's the same for comprehending the laws there as well. After the announcement that the god's secret treasure would open in 6 months spread throughout the genius secret realm, everyone was in an uproar. For a time, Duan Lingtian and Huan Er's limelight was stolen. After all, the god's secret treasure was closely related to everyone's interests. Since Duan Lingtian and Huan had broken the record, they had only joined in the fun. Naturally, there were some people who were grateful to Duan Lingtian and Huan for opening the god's secret treasure. Huan, let's go. Earlier, before the announcement about the god's secret treasure was made, the voice had already announced that Huan had broken the record. At the same time, she also obtained an emperor-grade celestial weapon. It was a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. I broke the second record and obtained a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. However, Huan only broke the first record and obtained a purely defensive Emperor-grade celestial weapon. It seems like Huan-Er's heaven-defying record has given her special treatment. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. After all, although he had broken the records at the peak of gravity and the formation spirit pagoda, he did not surpass the record holder by much. Huan-Er, on the other hand, had surpassed the record holder by more than 20 times. What did it mean to be 20 times stronger than the record holder? Over the next 5 months, Duan Lingtian and Huan-Er set many records. However, they were all unheard of. Moreover, they were all in areas that he was not familiar with. For example, setting up formations. Alchemy. Previously, when he was in the borderlands of the Southern Heaven territory, his alchemy skills were quite good with the Chaos Divine Flame. However, the Chaos Divine Flame was still in its third form, and it was not good enough for him. There was also the matter of weapon forging. There's only a month left before God's secret treasure opens. Until now, I still don't know where the entrance to God's secret treasure is. Duan Lingtian was puzzled by this. After all, he was not the only one who did not know where the entrance to God's secret treasure was. Even the other people, including the young prodigies from the Grade 1 forces, did not know where it was. Moreover, according to the young prodigies from the Grade 1 forces, the entrance to God's secret treasure was not fixed. Usually, the entrance to God's secret treasure would be guided before it opened. Now, there's only 1 month left. Logically speaking, God's secret treasure should have given out guidance to the group of prodigies in the genius secret realm. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Half a day later, a dazzling golden light that resembled the sun appeared out of thin air in the distance. It immediately attracted Duan Lingtian's attention. Brother Lingtian, is that God's secret treasure's guidance? Huan-Er asked as she looked at Duan Lingtian. I'm afraid everyone in the genius secret realm can see that golden light. It must be God's secret treasure's guidance. Huan-Er, let's go. Duan Lingtian and Huan-Er walked side by side in the direction of the golden light. At the same time, the young prodigies in the divine offering land noticed the golden light as well. They immediately realized it was the entrance to God's secret treasure. For a moment, they stopped what they were doing and rushed in that direction. The entrance to God's secret treasure has appeared. I should be able to meet Duan Lingtian at the entrance. Su Li was also rushing in the direction of the golden light. At the same time, he was curious about the grassroots prodigy who shared the same name as his good friend, Duan Lingtian. Naturally, deep in his heart, he hoped that the grassroots prodigy was his good friend, Duan Lingtian. Although he did not think it was possible, he could not help but think about it. After all, he also hoped that his good friend would have such achievements. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Whether it was the young prodigies from the Grade 1 forces or the grassroots prodigies, all of them were rushing in the direction of the golden light. They would do anything to enter God's secret treasure. Chapter 32-36. The place where the golden light shone was located was above the peak of gravity. Even though it was covered by clouds and mist, it still could not block out the dazzling light. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Numerous figures rushed over from all directions. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived at the place where the golden light shone. With a single glance, they were able to see that within the dazzling golden light, there was a grand and ancient door that seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life. The door was crimson in color. It was surrounded by a seemingly heavy metal that resembled ancient bronze. There were countless complicated patterns engraved on it. There were people, beasts, and sceneries in the patterns. If one looked closely, they would realize that the people, beasts, and sceneries in the patterns seemed to have come alive in an instant. On both sides of the door, there were 2 monsters that looked like a dragon or a flying dragon or a snake guarding it. They emitted a terrifying aura from their bodies. The door was ajar, as though it would open with a touch. Waves of mysterious black mist escaped from the crack of the door, emitting an aura that made one feel relaxed and happy. What kind of immortal beasts are these? The people who had gathered here were basically a group of grassroots prodigies. They were already nearby and had rushed over as soon as they could. At this moment, when the group of prodigies looked at the two monsters, their eyes were filled with confusion. This was because this was the first time that they had seen such monsters. The two monsters looked extremely ferocious. They had sharp fangs and saliva that constantly dripped from their mouths. Their triangular eyes flickered with a cold light. At this moment, they were guarding in front of the door, glaring at the group of prodigies. The chains that were as thick as an adult man's waist were pulled taut by them. It was as though they would have pounced on the group of prodigies if it were not for the chains restraining them. It seems that God's secret treasure is behind this door. A young prodigy mumbled to himself. This place will open in a month? Many people's eyes lit up. Didn't you guys notice that? This door is ajar? Maybe we can just push the door open and go in now. A middle-aged prodigy looked at the ajar door in the distance with bright eyes. Then, he could not hold it in any longer. With a flash of his body, he dashed toward the ajar door as though he had transformed into a bolt of lightning. What happened next was an unforgettable scene for everyone present. Just as the middle-aged man arrived near the unlatched door, one of the monsters abruptly opened its mouth and unleashed a powerful burst of energy. Roar! Along with the earth-shaking roar of a beast, a terrifying power, like a world-destroying light, landed on the middle-aged genius. Before that happened, the middle-aged heaven's favorite reacted in time. However, even though he defended with all his might, under the impact of the destructive light, he still turned into a bloody mist. Not even a speck of dust was left behind. A moment later, a damaged storage ring appeared before everyone's eyes. The middle-aged prodigy's defensive royal-grade celestial weapon and the defensive royal-grade celestial weapon were destroyed by the force. This is the power of an immortal emperor? Many people were shocked as they looked at the monster that had attacked. Their hearts trembled. No one had expected the monster to be able to display such powerful strength. The monster's power was not something they could withstand. The monster's attack contained the celestial origin energy of a celestial emperor. Moreover, apart from the celestial origin energy that was comparable to a celestial emperor, it also contained the terrifying aura of a law. Even the most outstanding prodigy from a Grade 1 force might not be able to withstand that monster. A grassroots prodigy gulped as he spoke in a trembling voice. That's Bailey Hongfei. Soon after, many people noticed that Bailey Hongfei from the Bailey clan had arrived. Behind him were 5 or 6 people. Clearly, they were all geniuses from the Bailey clan. Brother Hongfei, what's that celestial beast? When the people from the Bailey clan arrived, a pretty girl behind Bailey Hongfei looked curiously at the two monsters guarding the door. The grassroots prodigies present on the scene immediately shifted their attention to Bailey Hongfei. Bailey Hongfei was the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Bailey clan. Rumor had it that he was extremely knowledgeable. If I'm not mistaken, those aren't celestial beasts but quasi-divine beasts. At this moment, Bailey Hongfei turned to the two monstrous beasts guarding the entrance and spoke with a grim expression on his face. Quasi-divine beasts? Upon hearing Bailey Hongfei's words, although it was the first time the prodigies present on the scene had heard of quasi-divine beasts, they knew what divine beasts were. Divine beasts were existences that possessed godlike strength when they reached adulthood. They were even more powerful than celestial beasts. After all, no matter how powerful a celestial beast's bloodline was, it was still a 10-direction celestial emperor. If they wanted to advance further, they could only rely on themselves like humans. Although quasi-divine beasts were not true celestial beasts, they were not true celestial beasts. However, they were definitely more terrifying than celestial beasts. Brother Hongfei, does that mean quasi-divine beasts are above celestial beasts and are between top celestial beasts and divine beasts? Another male disciple of the Bailey clan asked with a shocked expression. That's right. Bailey Hongfei nodded. If I'm not mistaken, these quasi-divine beasts are Ning dragons. They're divine beasts with no intelligence and only battle instincts. Quasi-divine beasts with no intelligence and only battle instincts? They were not afraid of celestial beasts with no intelligence and only battle instincts. However, the thought of quasi-divine beasts sent chills down the spines of the prodigies present on the scene. Brother Hong Fei. The door behind the Ning dragon seems to be ajar. The female disciple from the Bailey clan who had spoken earlier said. Upon hearing this, Bailey Hong Fei said, "It's normal. Every time God's secret treasure opens, all the prodigies in the genius secret realm are notified to gather at the entrance a month in advance. That's when they can enter God's secret treasure. However, if they want to enter God's secret treasure, they'll have to pass the test first. It seems like these two Ning dragons are the test for God's secret treasure this time. However, it's not realistic to enter God's secret treasure right under their noses." At the very least, Bailey Hong Fei did not think he had the ability to enter God's secret treasure under the watchful eyes of the Ning dragons. Although the two Ning dragons weren't fully grown, the chi they exuded had clearly surpassed the chi of celestial lords. The two Ning dragons were celestial emperors. Moreover, the profundities they had mastered were not weak. Does this mean we'll be able to enter God's secret treasure in advance if we pass the test? Another disciple from the Bailey clan asked. That's right. Bailey Hong Fei nodded. Otherwise, we'll have to wait for a month. At that time, the two Ning dragons will leave. Brother Hong Fei, how long will we be able to stay in God's secret treasure after the Ning dragons leave? 3 days. When the other prodigies overheard the conversation between Bailey Hong Fei and the Bailey clan's disciple, they were stunned. If they did not enter God's secret treasure in advance, they would only be able to stay in God's secret treasure for 3 days. 3 days? Isn't that too little? As for the disciples of the Bailey clan who had just found out about this, they were all stunned. At the same time, they felt that the time was too short. It's always been like this. Bailey Hong Fei shook his head and said, God's secret treasure is a ruin in a realm of gods. If we're lucky, we might be able to find a divine artifact in there. Do you think we'll be able to stay in there until the genius secret realm opens? That's not realistic. Indeed, many people thought they would be able to stay in God's secret treasure until the genius secret realm opened. They did not expect they would only be able to stay in there for 3 days. What can we do in just 3 days? How lucky must we be to obtain a divine artifact in such a short time? It seems like we'll only be able to stay in God's secret treasure if we pass the Ning Dragon's test. Pass the Ning Dragon's test? Why don't you try? Can't you see Bailey Hong Fei doesn't intend to force his way in? In my opinion, we'll die if we try. Just as the group of grassroots prodigies were feeling a little depressed, another group of people came over. It's the people from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Many people recognized the group of old men from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. They were led by Yun Yi, the strongest young prodigy in the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Yun Yi, I heard that you didn't even greet Duan Ling Tian and Huan before running away. Bailey Hong Fei looked at Yun Yi and said mockingly, What's wrong? Didn't you say you wanted to avenge your junior brother Yun Xiao? Bailey Hong Fei. Yun Ye's expression darkened when he heard Bailey Hong Fei's words and saw the mocking gazes directed at him from the surroundings. He knew Bailey Hong Fei must have found out about what had happened outside the Formation Spirit Pagoda. If Bailey Hong Fei found out who leaked the news, he would not let the culprit go. What do you mean? Many grassroots prodigies did not know what Bailey Hong Fei and Yun Yi were talking about. However, after listening to their explanations, they finally understood what Bailey Hong Fei and Yun Yi were talking about. Immediately, they looked at Yun Yi with ridicule in their eyes. After a while, the people from the Profound Sky Dao sect arrived as well. After that, a few people from Grade 1 forces such as the Tuoba clan, the Great Dragon Battle sect, and the Profound Cat clan arrived as well. Currently, there were 6 people from Grade 1 forces in the Nando territory. Only 2 people from the remaining Grade 1 forces were missing. The Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect and the Ancient Phoenix clan. There were a total of 8 Grade 1 forces in the Nando territory. Among them, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, the Ancient Phoenix clan, and the Bailey clan were the strongest. The other 5 forces had always worked together to avoid being swallowed up by the other 3 forces. Chapter 32-37. The Ancient Phoenix clan is here as well. Soon, The group of people guarding the entrance of God's secret treasure saw another group of people, led by a woman, walking towards them in an imposing manner. The woman in the lead was dressed in a purplish-red robe. She had a beautiful face and a graceful figure. Her eyes were cold and indifferent. She was none other than the number one prodigy of the ancient Phoenix clan, Feng Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi. When Bailey Hongfei saw Feng Chi-Chi, he stepped forward and greeted her with a warm smile. However, Feng Chi-Chi ignored him. Bailey Hongfei, don't call me by my name. If you want to call me by my full name, please. Bailey Hongfei had been pursuing her relentlessly for 100 years. Even though she had rejected him verbally, he still did not give up. She felt helpless about this. In terms of strength, Bailey Hongfei was on par with her. She could not use force. As for soft tactics, she did not know how to use force. Even if she used force, Bailey Hongfei would only push his luck. She's Feng Chi-Chi of the ancient Phoenix clan? I heard that she's not only the number one prodigy of the ancient Phoenix clan, but she's also the most beautiful woman in the clan. The most beautiful woman in the ancient Phoenix clan? If I hadn't met Huan I would have thought that she's unrivaled. However, after meeting Huan I feel that she's very ordinary. I agree. After Feng Chi-Chi appeared, many grassroots prodigies began to whisper among themselves. Some of them had seen Huan before, and they were not stingy with their praise for her. Although Feng Chi-Chi was pretty, she was still far from being comparable to Huan. Women love to be beautiful. This was especially true for women who had a foundation in beauty. A group of grassroots geniuses were whispering there. Although their voices weren't loud, but with Feng Chi-Chi's hearing, how could she not hear it? Instantly, her expression turned ugly. Since Feng Chi-Chi could hear them, Bailey Hongfei could hear them as well. When he saw Feng Chi-Chi's expression turning ugly, he glared at the grassroots prodigies who were gossiping. When the grassroots prodigies saw Bailey Hongfei glaring at them, they immediately shut their mouths. After all, they could not afford to offend the number one prodigy of the Bailey clan. What a beautiful woman! While Bailey Hongfei was glaring at the group of grassroots prodigies to shut them up, the female disciple from the Bailey clan exclaimed in shock as she gazed into the distance. What's going on? Hearing this, everyone's gazes turned to look at him. Two figures were flying over from afar. One was a handsome young man in purple, and the other was a beautiful woman in white. The young man had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, and his temperament was outstanding. The woman held the young man's hand and stood next to him like a golden couple. It's Duan Lingtian and Huan They're here. Many of the Sky Prides present had seen Duan Lingtian and Huan before, and they could not help but exclaim in surprise. On the other hand, the grassroots prodigies were grinning from ear to ear. After all, Duan Lingtian and Huan were also grassroots prodigies. Speaking of which, it's all thanks to Duan Lingtian and Huan that we were able to open God's secret treasure. A grassroots prodigy sighed. That's only natural. If it weren't for them breaking 3 records, we wouldn't have been able to open God's secret treasure. The former's words received the approval of the group of grassroots prodigies. Meanwhile, Yunyi, the number one prodigy of the Thousand Hands Devil sect, had an unsightly expression on his face when he saw Duan Lingtian and Huan from afar. However, he only glanced at them briefly before he averted his gaze. He was afraid that Duan Lingtian and Huan would stare at him. So many people? When Duan Lingtian saw the crowd, he knew he and Huan had arrived late. Duan Lingtian, I'm Feng Chi-Chi. When Feng Chi-Chi saw Duan Lingtian and Huan she withdrew her jealous gaze from Huan and looked at Duan Lingtian with a charming smile on her face. The ancient Phoenix clan invites you to join us. As long as you join the ancient Phoenix clan, we'll do our best to nurture you. I can't guarantee anything else, but I can assure you that as long as you join the ancient Phoenix clan, the treatment you'll receive won't be any worse than mine. As soon as Duan Lingtian and Huan arrived, Feng Chi-Chi extended an olive branch to Duan Lingtian on behalf of the ancient Phoenix clan. Duan Lingtian, I'm Bailey Hongfei. The Bailey clan welcomes you to join us. Although Bailey Hongfei was pursuing Feng Chi-Chi, he decided to put aside his feelings for Duan Lingtian when he saw Duan Lingtian. He decided to fight for Duanling Tian on behalf of the Bailey clan and the ancient Phoenix clan. Then, he looked at Huan and said with a smile, "Of course, the Bailey clan welcomes Miss Huan as well. As long as the two of you join the Bailey clan, I can assure you that in the future, the treatment you'll receive in the Bailey clan will be better than mine." Bailey Hongfei made a solemn vow. "Brother Ling Tian, Miss Huan the mysterious Tian Dao sect welcomes you to join us." Yiwu Dao, the #1 prodigy among the younger generation of the mysterious Tian Dao sect, stepped forward and invited Duanling Tian and Huan to join the mysterious Tian Dao sect. "Little sister Huan you're so beautiful." An enchanting woman in red stepped forward and smiled at Huan. "Brother Ling Tian is really lucky to have found a partner like you." She glanced at Duanling Tian cautiously as her cheeks flushed red. She did not know how to react to Duanling Tian's words. "Although our Tuoba clan is inferior to the ancient Phoenix clan and the Bailey clan, as long as the two of you join us, I, Tuoba Hong, can represent my father, the current patriarch of the Tuoba clan, and promise that as long as the two of you join us, our Tuoba clan will not mistreat you." The woman in red was none other than Tuoba Hong, the daughter of the current clan leader of the Tuoba clan. She was also the #1 prodigy among the younger generation of the Tuoba clan. Of course, she was much weaker than Feng Chi, Bailey Hongfei, and Yiwu Dao. For this reason, she wanted Duanling Tian and Huan to join the Tuoba clan. That way, her father would no longer have to worry about the Tuoba clan's future. "I'm Yuan Zhu from the Great Dragon Battle Sect. The Great Dragon Battle Sect welcomes the two of you." Yuan Zhu, the #1 prodigy among the younger generation of the Great Dragon Battle Sect, stepped forward and extended an invitation to Duanling Tian and Huan. "If the two of you join the Great Dragon Battle Sect, you'll have priority in using all of the sect's resources." The 4 Grade 1 forces also extended an invitation to Duanling Tian and Huan. The grassroots prodigies were, naturally, envious when they saw this. However, they knew Duanling Tian and Huan deserved this treatment. After all, their performance in the Genius Secret Realm had surpassed the prodigies from the Grade 1 forces. Currently, only the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, and the Profound Cat Clan did not extend an invitation to Duanling Tian and Huan. The Thousand Hands Devil Sect did not extend an invitation to Duanling Tian and Huan, since they knew it was impossible for Duanling Tian and Huan to join the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Even if they extended an invitation to them, they would only be humiliating themselves. On the other hand, the prodigies from the Profound Cat Clan frowned slightly as they looked at Huan with a skeptical expression on their faces. They could sense the aura of their clan's nemesis, the Phantom Fox Clan, on Huan. However, they were certain Huan was not a Phantom Fox. Moreover, the young man had broken the record left behind by the Profound Cat Clan's ancestor from 100,000 years ago. After all, the ancestor of the Profound Cat Clan was still a pillar of the Profound Cat Clan to this day. Normally, when they saw the old ancestor of the Profound Cat Clan, it was as though they were on a pilgrimage. However, when they entered the Genius Secret Realm, they saw with their own eyes that Huan had broken the record set by their old ancestor in the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formation. Moreover, he broke the record set by the ancestor of the Profound Cat Clan 100,000 years ago in a crushing manner. "Gentlemen, I'm Yu Tianxing from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Tai, progeny." At this moment, Yu Tianxing stepped forward and looked at Duanling Tian and Huan with a smile on his face. Many people wondered why the people from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect had not made a move yet. "On behalf of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, I'd like to invite both of you to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. As long as both of you join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, I can guarantee that the Thousand Hands Devil Sect won't dare to do anything to you in the future." Unlike the others, Yu Tianxing didn't offer any extravagant conditions. Instead, he only expressed one thing. If Duanling Tian and Huan join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect would protect them from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Swoosh. Upon hearing Yu Tianxing's words, Yuan Ye's expression changed drastically. The expressions of the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect behind him changed as well. However, They knew Yu Tianxing was qualified to say such words. After all, the Thousand Hands Devil Sect did not dare to offend the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. The ancient Phoenix clan won't let the Thousand Hands Devil Sect harm you as well. Feng Chi chimed in. The Bailey clan will definitely protect you. Bai Li Hong chimed in. Earlier, they had forgotten about Duan Lingtian killing Yun Xiao, the son of the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. The Tuoba clan isn't afraid of the Thousand Hands Devil Sect. Tuoba Hong chimed in. The Great Dragon Battle Sect is willing to fight the Thousand Hands Devil Sect for both of you. Yuan Zhu chimed in. If the Thousand Hands Devil Sect dares to harm you, not only will the profound Heavenly Dao Sect not allow it, but I, Yiwu Dao, won't allow it as well. If the Thousand Hands Devil Sect dares to harm you, I, Yiwu Dao, will kill one of their prodigies. Yiwu Dao's cold gaze swept across the group of prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, causing their expressions to turn even more unsightly. Then, the top prodigies from the Grade 1 forces turned to look at Duan Lingtian and Huan Er, waiting for their response. It's Su Li. Su Li is here. At this moment, a few of the prodigies noticed a black figure flying toward them on a sword in the distance. It was at this moment that a few of them noticed Duan Lingtian's figure flying toward them on a sword. Swoosh! A majestic blood-red sword tore through the air. Chapter 32-38. Su Li. Upon hearing the voice, even Duan Lingtian could not help but turn around and look curiously into the distance. Su Li was the prodigy of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Before he entered the Formation Spirit Pagoda and ascended the peak of gravity again after 8 years of closed-door cultivation, Su Li was ranked first in both places. Most importantly, Su Li was not an ordinary person. Duan Lingtian was very familiar with Su Li's name. Back then, in his hometown in the Saint Region realm, the Crimson Sky Kingdom's Iron Blood Genius Camp, the young man who became his best friend was also called Su Li. Before he left the Crimson Sky Kingdom, Duan Lingtian had regarded Su Li as his best friend. He had met Su Li a few times, but Su Li's growth had exceeded his expectations. After he ascended to the Devata realms, he no longer heard about Su Li. He's Su Li, the new prodigy of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, who's even stronger than Yu Tianxing? Yu Tianxing is a thing of the past. Su Li is the current #1 prodigy in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Su Li will lead a new era in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Everyone's eyes were trained on Su Li. Even Feng Chi, the #1 prodigy among the younger generation in the ancient Phoenix clan, had a bright gleam in her eyes when she saw Su Li. Upon seeing this, Bai Li Hongfei frowned slightly. A hint of hostility could be seen in his eyes when he looked at Su Li. Su Li, the other prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, including Yu Tianxing, had mixed feelings when they saw Su Li. After all, Su Li had joined the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect later than them, and yet, he had surpassed them. Just as everyone's attention was focused on Su Li also landed among the crowd. Finally, his gaze locked onto a purple figure. At the same time, Duan Lingtian was also staring at Su Li. Swoosh. Swoosh. Under the gazes of everyone present, Su Li swooped down on his sword, whereas Duan Lingtian soared up into the sky and flashed swiftly towards Su Li. Huan Er was the only one who stood there with a confused look on her face. Swoosh. Swoosh. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Duan Lingtian and Su Li stood facing each other less than 10 meters away from each other. What's going on? Don't tell me the two most outstanding geniuses in the Genius Secret Realm are going to spar with each other? Is there going to be a good show? All the geniuses present thought that Duan Lingtian and Su Li were standing opposite each other in a confrontation. Only Huan Er could clearly feel the joy in her big brother Duan Lingtian's heart when he left her. It was as if the black-clothed young man made him overflow with joy from the bottom of his heart. In the next moment, Duan Lingtian and Su Li's actions caused everyone to be dumbfounded. Duan Lingtian and Su Li stepped into the air and hugged each other in the blink of an eye. Their hands were constantly patting each other's back as they revealed brilliant smiles on their faces. Even the prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect had never seen Su Li, the widely acknowledged cold-faced sword celestial, smile. They know each other? At this moment, seeing the scene before them, it was not difficult for the people present to guess this. Perhaps, it was not as simple as just knowing each other. Duan Lingtian and Suli continued to pat each other's back as they hugged each other. They could feel the joy in each other's hearts. At this moment, neither of them spoke a word. Although they did not speak, they could understand each other's feelings. It had been too long since they last saw each other. It had been about 200 years, right? When they first met, they were only in their teens. The last time they met, they were only a few decades old, not even 100 years old. It could be said that this was the longest time they had been apart. Duan Lingtian, when I first saw your name on the peak of gravity ranking, I wondered if it was you. However, after thinking about it, I didn't think it was possible. After a long time, Duan Lingtian and Suli finally parted ways. How dare you? I've been in closed-door cultivation for 8 years. Although I've seen your name in the Formation Spirit Pagoda and the Peak of Gravity rankings, I've only thought of you. I didn't even dare to think it was you. Duan Lingtian shook his head with a bright smile on his face. Although he and Suli did not spend much time together, their friendship was unbreakable. It's mainly because you're too outstanding. Ever since we met in the Iron Blood Genius camp in the Crimson Sky Kingdom, you've surprised me too much, Suli said with a sigh. Suli sighed and said, "That's why I'm here today. I'm also thinking, maybe your achievements are still higher than mine." It seems like I'm right. Although it was obvious Duan Lingtian was stronger than him, he was not jealous at all. Instead, he was happy for Duan Lingtian. I didn't expect you to come to a Devata realm and become a prodigy of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect in the Jade Emperor Heavens, Nan Do territory. Duan Lingtian sighed. It's a long story. I'll tell you about it after we leave the Genius Secret Realm. Suli smiled. All right. At this moment, Duan Lingtian noticed he and Suli were the center of attention. He nodded at Suli before he walked over to Huan Er's side. Huan Er, this is Suli. He's a good friend of mine. Duan Lingtian walked up to Huan Er and introduced her to Suli with a smile on his face. He did not know why he was so eager to share his joy with Huan Er after reuniting with Suli. You must be Miss Huan Er, right? You're indeed as peerless as the rumors say. Suli glanced at Huan Er before he winked at Duan Lingtian, causing Duan Lingtian to glare at him. Big brother Suli. Huan Er greeted Suli with a smile. Big brother? Suli was taken aback. Then, he said awkwardly, actually, I'm only slightly over 200 years old. What? Do you think I'm being taken advantage of by calling you big brother? Duan Lingtian said with a smile. Huan Er isn't even 200 years old yet. Duan Lingtian, naturally, knew Suli thought Huan Er was older than him. Not even 200 years old? Duan Lingtian's words shocked Suli and the other prodigies present on the scene. They did not expect there would be someone younger than Suli among the prodigies who had entered the Genius Secret Realm. Moreover, this young woman who was not even 200 years old had broken the 10,000 Elephants Illusory Formations record. Senior brother Suli, are you acquainted with Duan Lingtian? At this moment, a young prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect stepped forward and asked curiously, as far as I know, Senior brother Suli, ever since you came to the Jade Emperor Heaven with Senior Uncle Dugu, you've never left the sect. This is your first time leaving the Thousand Tribulations sword sect since the Genius Secret Realm opened. The young prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect was confused. Duan Lingtian is a good friend of mine from the mundane realm. Suli smiled. Duan Lingtian, this is senior brother Gong Sunjing from the Yellow, the arch-progeny of the Thousand Tribulations sword sect. At the same time, Suli introduced the young prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian also greeted the young prodigy. Suli, since you're acquainted with Duan Lingtian, why don't you bring him to the Thousand Tribulations sword sect? Gong Sunjing said to Suli after greeting Duan Lingtian warmly. Although Duan Lingtian is a good friend of mine, I respect his decision. Regardless of whether he chooses the Thousand Tribulations sword sect or not, our friendship remains the same. Suli shook his head. Initially, when Suli had shown his close relationship with Duan Lingtian, the prodigies from the other Grade 1 forces thought they had no chance of winning. However, When they heard Su Li's words, their eyes lit up again. Apart from Gong Sunjing, the other prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, including Yu Tianxing, frowned slightly upon hearing Su Li's words. In their opinion, since Su Li was close to Duan Lingtian, it was almost certain that Duan Lingtian and Huan would join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. They did not expect Su Li to have no intention of inviting Duan Lingtian and Huan to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Su Li, Yu Tianxing stepped forward and looked at Su Li before he said in a deep voice, "Even if Senior Uncle Duan Lingtian is here, he would definitely want you to invite Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect." Su Li glanced at Yu Tianxing indifferently. "Yu Tianxing, I know what you're thinking. However, I believe the progeny leader will respect my decision." The progeny leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Shadow Support progeny was Dugu Zue. He was the one who brought Su Li to the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect from the Jade Emperor Heaven. The senior uncle Dugu that Yu Tianxing and Gong Sunjing were referring to was Dugu Zue. Yu Tianxing, naturally, knew Su Li was telling the truth. The progeny leader of the Shadow Support progeny treated Su Li like a treasure. How could he be displeased with Su Li? "Su Li, the sect leader treats you well, right? It's your duty to recruit talents for the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, right?" When Yu Tianxing saw it was useless to bring up Dugu Zue, he brought up his uncle, Yu Jinsheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Ever since Su Li joined the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, Yu Jinsheng, the sect leader of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, had taken good care of Su Li. Upon hearing Yu Tianxing's words, Su Li frowned slightly. Then, he glanced at Duan Lingtian and did not look at Yu Tianxing. "Su Li, Huan and I will join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect," Duan Lingtian said with a smile. "Duan Lingtian, there's no need for you to." Su Li thought Duan Lingtian had decided to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect because of him. He wanted to say something but was stopped by Duan Lingtian. "Huan and I originally planned to join a Grade 1 force. Since you're in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, we'll join in the fun." Duan Lingtian was telling the truth. Why did he want to enter the genius secret realm? He wanted to join one of the 3 Grade 1 forces, the Ancient Phoenix Clan, the Bailey Clan, and the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Among the 3 Grade 1 forces, the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect was undoubtedly his first choice. Chapter 32-39. Duan Lingtian's words extinguished the hope in the hearts of the prodigies from Grade 1 forces. Even so, there was nothing they could do about it. After all, the choice was in Duan Lingtian's hands. Moreover, with their strength, it was impossible for them to force Duan Lingtian to submit to them. If they could suppress Duan Lingtian, they would not have taken the initiative to invite Duan Lingtian to join their forces. It was due to Duan Lingtian's strength and innate talent that they were willing to put aside their pride and invite Duan Lingtian to join their forces. "Su Li, you said you and Duan Lingtian are good friends in the mundane realm. Don't tell me he's about the same age as you?" Gong Sunjing, a prodigy from the the arch progeny of the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, asked curiously as he looked at Su Li. "That's right." Su Li nodded. "Duan Lingtian and I are about the same age. If we're to be exact, he's slightly younger than me." As soon as Su Li finished speaking, the entire place fell silent. Duan Lingtian was about the same age as Su Li? In fact, he was even younger than Su Li? Upon hearing Su Li's words, the corner of Yu Tianxing's mouth twitched. He did not expect the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect would have such a monstrous genius like Su Li and Duan Lingtian, who was even more monstrous than Su Li. The prodigies from the Grade 1 forces who had invited Duan Lingtian to join the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect looked at the people from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect with envy. "What's the situation now?" Su Li asked as he looked at Gong Sunjing. "I don't know. We just arrived as well," Gong Sunjing replied. At the same time, the prodigies present on the scene shifted their attention to the door guarded by the 2 Ning dragons. Ning dragons. Feng Chi-Chi's expression changed drastically. As the most outstanding prodigy among the younger generation in the Ancient Phoenix Clan, it was only natural that she recognized the Ning dragons. Earlier, A relatively strong grassroots prodigy tried to force his way in, but he was killed by one of the Ning dragons, Bailey Hongfei said. Bailey Hongfei said, although these two Ning dragons haven't reached adulthood, their strength is comparable to an ordinary celestial emperor. Feng Qi said solemnly. Not weaker than an ordinary immortal emperor? Hearing Feng Qi's words, the faces of the group, including Duan Lingtian, became slightly solemn. If I use the space law's teleportation profundity, will I be able to enter? A sky pride from the mysterious Heavenly Dao sect asked curiously. The sky pride from the profound Sky Dao sect was a sky pride who had comprehended the law of space. Furthermore, he had also comprehended the profound meaning of teleportation to minor accomplishment. With a single teleportation, he could teleport 10,000 meters away. You can try, Feng Qi said faintly, but there was some ridicule in her eyes. The sky pride of the mysterious Heavenly Dao sect frowned slightly upon hearing this, but he still gave it a try. However, when he disappeared on the spot, he reappeared on the head of the Ning dragon instead of beside the ajar door. Roar! At the same time, the Ning dragon opened its mouth and attacked the profound Heavenly Dao sect's prodigy. Oh no! The expression of the profound Heavenly Dao sect's prodigy changed drastically. He wanted to teleport back, but he discovered that the space he was in seemed to be affected by some kind of power. He could not teleport at all. Boom! The Ning dragon shot out a beam of destructive energy from its mouth and killed the profound Heavenly Dao sect's prodigy in an instant, leaving behind a broken spatial ring. As for the defensive immortal equipment on his body, it was reduced to dust by the Ning dragon's attack. Feng Qi, Yiwu Dao, the #1 sky pride of the profound Heavenly Dao sect's younger generation, glared at Feng Qi when he saw one of his junior brothers die just like that. You knew all along, didn't you? The Ning dragon's innate ability is to affect space. It's impossible to teleport in front of it. In fact, it can even affect space with just a thought and prevent you from teleporting, Feng Qi said faintly. Feng Qi said faintly. Her words were undoubtedly a reply to Yiwu Dao. Indeed, she had long known that this would be the result. Yiwu Dao flew into a rage. Why didn't you warn him? Why did you let him try? Are you trying to harm him? I only wanted him to try and see if the two Ning dragons had really reached the level of a celestial emperor. Only Ning dragons with the strength of a celestial emperor or above can control space. Feng Qi shrugged and said, now, his death proves that the two Ning dragons did indeed have the strength of a celestial emperor and were not bluffing. Feng Qi's words sent chills down the spines of many people. She had asked the profound Heavenly Dao sect's prodigy to risk his life just to see if the Ning dragons had the strength of a celestial emperor. Feng Qi, I'll remember this. Yiwu Dao looked at Feng Qi deeply, but he did not make a move. He knew that he was no match for Feng Qi. Even if he made a move, he would not benefit from it. In the future, the prodigies of the ancient Phoenix clan should be careful when they go out. Yiwu Dao glanced at the people behind Feng Qi and smiled. Although he was smiling, his smile was uglier than crying. The expressions of the prodigies of the ancient Phoenix clan changed when they heard Yiwu Dao's words. Yiwu Dao, if you want the profound Heavenly Dao sect to expel you and the ancient Phoenix clan to hunt you down, you can try. Feng Qi sneered. Yiwu Dao's expression darkened when he heard Feng Qi's words. This was the confidence of the ancient Phoenix clan. Although the profound Heavenly Dao sect was a grade 1 force, its strength was inferior to the ancient Phoenix clan. If the ancient Phoenix clan wanted to expel him, the profound Heavenly Dao sect would have no choice but to do so. It seems like we'll have to wait for another month before we enter. Many prodigies shook their heads and sighed when they saw the two Ning dragons guarding the entrance to God's secret treasure. The others, including Duan Lingtian, felt the same way. Although Duan Lingtian was strong, he knew he was no match for the two Ning dragons. It seems like we can only wait. Duan Lingtian and Suli looked at each other. They could see the same thoughts in each other's eyes. Suli, since we have nothing to do, why don't you tell me what happened to you after we parted ways? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile as he led Huan, and Suli to the side, away from the other prodigies. Just as Suli was about to speak, Huan looked at Duan Ling Tian and said, Brother Ling Tian, I just communicated with the two Ning dragons through voice transmission. They'll allow me to enter. However, I can only bring 3 people with me. Huan Er's words shocked Duan Ling Tian and Su Li. Huan Er, is what you said true? Duan Ling Tian asked in shock. Yes. Huan Er nodded. Why are they willing? Duan Ling Tian asked again. I negotiated with them. As long as they're willing to let us in, I'll help them leave the genius secret realm. A hint of pity flashed in Huan Er's eyes as she continued to say, They're very pitiful. They were captured and brought here a long time ago. Moreover, the person who captured them has restricted their growth. Bring them out? Duan Ling Tian was stunned. Huan Er, are you sure you can do that? No problem, Brother Ling Tian, Huan Er said with a smile. Huan Er smiled and said, I'll use an illusion to conceal them. Then, I'll let them enter my small world and bring them out. However, although I negotiated with them, they were only willing to let me bring 3 people in. Duan Ling Tian nodded. You want them to enter your little world? Duan Ling Tian frowned before he said, No, it's too dangerous. If you want them to enter your little world, let them enter my little world instead. Although the little world could not be destroyed, it was still possible for a powerful being to cause trouble in it. Duan Ling Tian did not want Huan Er to take the risk. Brother Ling Tian, don't worry. They won't hurt me. They won't be willing to enter your little world because they don't trust humans, Huan Er said. Duan Ling Tian nodded. With Huan Er's reassurance, Duan Ling Tian gradually relaxed. Did you take the initiative to negotiate with them? Or did they look for you? Duan Ling Tian asked. They looked for me. They recognized me as 1,000 Phantoms Ice Fox. Moreover, they said their clan's ancestor had a close relationship with us 1,000 Phantoms Ice Foxes a long time ago. All of this is recorded in my inherited memories, Huan Er said. Duan Ling Tian was relieved. Duan Ling Tian heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Huan Er's words. After all, Huan Er's inherited memories would not lie. You can bring 3 people with you? Does this mean we can bring 1 more person with us? Duan Ling Tian asked. Yes. Huan Er nodded. Brother Ling Tian, you can decide who you want to bring. I don't know any of them. If you don't want to bring anyone with you, you don't have to. Su Li, who do you think we should bring? Duan Ling Tian looked at Su Li and asked. Of course, we can only bring people from the 1,000 Tribulations Sword Sect. I only know Gong Sun Jing from the Yellow the Arch Progeny. I'm not familiar with the others. The Yellow the Arch Progeny is closer to the Shadow Support Progeny. Most importantly, the progeny leader of the Yellow the Arch Progeny, Gong Sun Jing's grandfather, is extremely powerful. I suspect he's one of the titled Celestial Emperors in the 1,000 Tribulations Sword Sect. Su Li said, If you bring him with you, you'll owe him a favor. After all, you and Huan Er will be entering the 1,000 Tribulations Sword Sect soon. Of course, this is only my suggestion, Su Li said. In that case, let's bring him with us. Duan Ling Tian said, Call him. Let's go. However, don't tell him the truth. I don't want him to know why we're allowed to enter the 1,000 Tribulations Sword Sect. As he spoke, Duan Ling Tian reminded Su Li understood. When Su Li told Gong Sun Jing about this, Gong Sun Jing's eyes lit up. He was even a little overjoyed. Su Li, is what you said true? You can choose not to believe me. We're going in now. Chapter 3240. Gong Sun Jing. No wonder his name sounds familiar. As it turns out, he's acquainted with someone with the same name. When Su Li had introduced Gong Sun Jing to Duan Ling Tian, he had thought Gong Sun Jing's name sounded familiar. However, he could not recall where he had heard it before. However, now that he was walking toward the 2 Ning dragons with Su Li and Huan Er, he finally recalled what he had done. Previously, when he was still in the profound nether mansion in the spirit overarching heaven's southern heaven territory, he had entered the middle realm of the southern heaven ancient realm and killed Gong Sun Jing, a disciple from the azure green mansion. When they were halfway there, Gong Sun Jing, the prodigy from the Yellow the Arch Progeny of the 1,000 Tribulations Sword Sect, joined Duan Ling Tian, Huan Er, and Huan Er. After all, Duan Ling Tian, Huan Er, and Huan Er were more talented and stronger than him. If they were not confident, Why would they take the risk? For this reason, Gong Sunjing was not worried at all. What are they trying to do? As Duan Lingtian, Huan and Huan approached the Ning dragons, many prodigies noticed them. They want to enter God's secret treasure? Aren't they afraid of dying? Everyone, be it grassroots prodigies or prodigies from Grade 1 forces, felt anxious when they saw Duan Lingtian, and Huan walking toward the Ning dragons. In their opinion, if Duan Lingtian, and Huan dared to approach the Ning dragons, they would definitely die. They're seeking death. The prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil Sect, led by Yun Yi, gloated when they saw Duan Lingtian, and Huan walking toward the Ning dragons. Su Li, what are you doing? The expressions of Yu Tianxing and the other prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect changed drastically. Yu Tianxing could not help but shout at Su Li. Although Su Li and Duan Lingtian were dead, he was still the strongest prodigy among the younger generation in the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. However, his pride made it impossible for him to feel at ease. Moreover, Su Li and Duan Lingtian's existence greatly affected the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect. Since he was devoted to the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect, he could not bear to watch Su Li and Duan Lingtian die. He could see it now. Gong Sunjing was most likely called over by Su Li. After all, Gong Sunjing had been chatting with him earlier. However, facing Yu Tianxing's rebuke, Su Li only turned his head and glanced at him indifferently. After that, he walked towards the two Ning dragons with Duan Lingtian, getting closer and closer. Seeing the four of them getting closer and closer to the Ning dragon, the group of Sky Prides felt that the four of them would definitely die. However, what happened next shocked them so much that their jaws almost dropped to the ground. As Duan Lingtian and the other three approached the Ning dragons didn't seem to notice them at all. They continued to walk in the air above their heads until they reached the unlatched door, pushed it open, and walked in. It's actually possible? Gong Sunjing was slightly frightened when he walked above the Ning dragons. When he saw the Ning dragons had no intention of attacking them, he sighed in relief. Then, he followed Su Li and Duan Lingtian through the door. After the four of them entered, the door was left ajar as though it was waiting for them to enter. Behind the door was a boundless gray world, and it was utterly impossible to see clearly. Duan Lingtian's group of four had really concealed themselves within the gray world and vanished before everyone's eyes. What's going on? Are the two Ning dragons blind? How did they get in? Did they use some kind of trick? It feels like the Ning dragons didn't notice them at all. The group of Sky Prides outside the door was stunned when they saw Duan Lingtian and the other three's figures disappear behind the door. Even the young prodigies from the Grade 1 forces were dumbfounded. What's going on? Bailey Hong Fei's face was filled with disbelief. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it was possible for someone to enter the door that was guarded by the Ning dragons. Is it possible that the Ning dragons have stopped attacking the intruders? A grassroots prodigy hesitated for a moment before he cautiously approached the Ning dragons. However, as soon as he entered the Ning dragons' range, he was killed by the Ning dragons. At this moment, the group of Sky Prides finally regained their senses. It was not that the Ning dragons had stopped attacking, but Duan Lingtian and the other three had used some kind of trick to prevent the Ning dragons from attacking them. After a while, many people tried to probe the Ning dragons using various methods such as concealment celestial talismans and concealment celestial talismans. However, none of them worked. Feng Chi even took out an invisibility talisman that ordinary celestial emperors would not be able to see through. However, Feng Chi also suffered minor injuries as a result. How did Duan Lingtian, Su Li, and the others enter the door? Why didn't they bring us with them? The young prodigies from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect were slightly displeased. They might not be able to bring so many people with them. Yu Tianxing said indifferently, even though I don't have much interaction with Su Li, he's definitely not the kind of person who would disregard us. If he was a selfish person, my uncle wouldn't have thought so highly of him. Think about it. If he really doesn't want to bring anyone with him, why would he bring Gong Sunjing with him? Just because Gong Sunjing is an acquaintance of his? Yu Tianxing replied with a question. But why would he bring Gong Sunjing with him instead of you? Senior Brother Tianxing. Does he think you're inferior to Gongsun Jing, Senior Brother Tianxing? Hejan, a prodigy from the Thousand Tribulations Sword Sect's Clear Lu progeny, said in a deep voice. He has his reasons, right? Yu Tianxing said. Meanwhile, after Duan Lingtian and the others passed through the door, they continued walking for a while before they discovered they were still shrouded in fog. Finally, under the guidance of the faint light in front of them, they entered a vast world. However, the vast world was in ruins. Heaven and earth had been turned upside down, and there were ruins everywhere. Not a single thing was intact. So this is the ruins of the realms of gods? Duan Lingtian could feel the pure heaven and earth spirit energy shrouding him. The heaven and earth spirit energy here was not as majestic as the heaven and earth spirit energy in the Devata realms. However, it felt like it was of a higher level. Brother Lingtian, the heaven and earth spirit energy here is different, Huaner said to Duan Lingtian. While Duan Lingtian noticed the difference in the heaven and earth spirit energy, Huaner also noticed the difference. At the same time, both Su Li and Gong Sunjing were shocked. After about 15 minutes, the four of them finally regained their senses. Duan Lingtian, Su Li, since we're here, let's split up and search for our own fortuitous encounters, Gong Sunjing said. Gong Sunjing bid farewell to Duan Lingtian and Su Li before he prepared to leave. Gong Sunjing knew there was no danger in the ruins of the realms of gods. After all, when the realms of gods were destroyed, the formations and life forms in the realms of gods were destroyed as well. Meichim, Su Li frowned slightly when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Then, Gong Sunjing left. Gong Sunjing must be worried that he won't be able to obtain anything if he stays with us. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. He's too narrow-minded. Su Li shook his head. Let's go. Duan Lingtian beckoned to Huan and Su Li. Then, the three of them began to wander aimlessly in the ruins of the realms of gods. Naturally, Su Li was just wandering aimlessly. However, that was not the case for Duan Lingtian. Let's continue for another 1,000 meters. The voice of Huang the sword soul of the seven orifices exquisite sword, rang in Duan Lingtian's mind. It was none other than Huang. In the end, Duan Lingtian came to a halt above the ruins of a palace. Naturally, he was able to tell the ruins belonged to a palace because some of the things that had collapsed were part of the palace. Su Li was taken aback by Duan Lingtian's sudden halt. Su Li, go and take a look at that spot. Duan Lingtian pointed at a spot on the side of the ruins and said to Su Li, there should be a sword 30 meters down there. A sword? Although Su Li did not know how Duan Lingtian knew there was a sword there, his eyes lit up when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. A sword in the ruins of a realms of gods was definitely not an ordinary sword. Even if it was not a divine weapon, it was most likely an emperor-grade celestial weapon. Swoosh. Although Su Li had not seen Duan Lingtian for many years, he still trusted Duan Lingtian unconditionally. After all, he did not think it was strange for Duan Lingtian to do something miraculous. Initially, he did not have any hopes of entering the realms of gods. However, the woman beside Duan Lingtian had brought them in with just a few words. Boom. Rumble. Su Li transformed into a sword at the location Duan Lingtian pointed at and directly charged in, opening a path in the ruins. Naturally, he caused a huge commotion. Very soon, Su Li returned. In his hand was a strange sword. With the center of the sword as the center, half of it was black and the other half was blood red, revealing an evil aura. This is a mediocre Devata artifact. However, its soul has been destroyed. With his strength, the power he can unleash is only comparable to an emperor-grade celestial weapon. Huang Er's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears. However, if he fights an emperor-grade celestial sword, he'll be able to cut it in half. When he becomes a celestial emperor, he'll be able to unleash the power of a divine weapon even without its soul. Huang continued to speak. Duan Lingtian relayed Huang Er's words to Su Li, a mediocre Devata artifact. Long before Duan Lingtian spoke, Su Li had already flipped through the divine sword in his hand, and he was slightly reluctant to part with it. However, when he heard Duan Lingtian's words, he handed the divine sword back to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, you're the one who discovered this sword. Here, take it. Take it. Why are you being so polite with me? However, Duan Lingtian did not take the divine sword. He shook his head and said with a smile, "Don't worry. Both of us won't lack divine weapons if we continue on our journey." Chapter 32:41. Earlier, Suli did not think much of it before he found the divine sword in his possession. However, now that he had found such a divine sword according to Duan Ling Tian's instructions, he was terrified when he thought about it. The divine weapon in my possession has an artifact soul. It can sense the presence of other divine weapons in this realm of gods, Duan Lingtian said with a smile. Naturally, there was no need for him to hide this matter from Suli since he knew Suli would not harm him. If Suli was the kind of person who would harm him, Suli would not have sacrificed his own future in the Crimson Firmament Kingdom's royal city because he did not want to help others kill him. An artifact soul? Suli was shocked. He knew what an artifact soul meant. A divine weapon with an artifact soul was much more powerful than an ordinary divine weapon. Duan Lingtian, I thought I was lucky. However, it seems like my luck is nothing compared to yours. Suli sighed. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly as he continued to explore the ruins of the realm of gods with Suli and Huan Er. Huan Er, I remember they said the two Ning dragons are quasi-divine beasts without intelligence. How did you communicate with them? Duan Lingtian asked the question that had been bothering him for a long time. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's words reminded Suli of this matter. He looked at Huan Er curiously. It was common knowledge that celestial beasts without intelligence would not be able to communicate with humans. They would attack humans as soon as they saw them. It was the same for quasi-divine beasts without intelligence. Brother Lingtian, Huan Er explained. To a certain extent, the Ning dragons are quasi-divine beasts without intelligence. They can't communicate with humans since they don't understand the human language. Furthermore, the Ning dragons are born with a deep hatred for humans. That's because they've been enslaved by human experts for generations. Because of this, as long as the Ning dragons see humans, their first thought is to kill them. Humans can't communicate with them, so as time goes by, they naturally think that the Ning dragons have no intelligence. In fact, the Ning dragon is a quasi-divine beast, and it's comparable to a 10-direction celestial emperor when it reaches adulthood. How can such a creature not have any intelligence? If they don't have intelligence, how can they comprehend the profundities of the laws? After listening to Huan Er, Duan Lingtian agreed. If the Ning dragon didn't have intelligence, it wouldn't have been able to comprehend the profundities of the law. Could it be that he had to rely on his instincts to comprehend? In his memory, none of the immortal beasts that he knew had comprehended the profundities of the laws, but none of them had any intelligence. Even if they did, they would most likely lose their sentience after comprehending the profundities of the laws. I see. Duan Lingtian came to a sudden understanding, and so did Suli. At this moment, Duan Lingtian said, Duan Lingtian, now that you've helped me find a god artifact, I'd like to have a look around so I won't be leaving with you and Huan Er. Suli suddenly said to Duan Lingtian. Naturally, the reason he chose to leave was because he was worried Duan Lingtian would give him another divine weapon later on. Although he would be able to obtain a lot of god artifacts if he followed Duan Lingtian, he did not want to take advantage of Duan Lingtian. Alright, how could Duan Lingtian not know Suli's thoughts? For this reason, he did not try to persuade Suli to stay. However, before Suli left, he exchanged soul pearls with Suli so that they could communicate more easily. Moreover, in the ruins of the realms of gods, his only advantage was to look for god artifacts. He had no other advantage over god artifacts. Perhaps, Suli would be able to find other fortuitous encounters after they left. The two Ning dragons guarded the entrance of God's secret treasure. Although the other prodigies were envious, none of them dared to approach it. It's been half a month since Duan Lingtian and the others entered the realms of gods. Even if there's anything good, I'm afraid they've already taken everything away, right? A grassroots prodigy said with a frown on his face. His eyes were filled with jealousy. However, as soon as he spoke, he was refuted by a prodigy from the Thousand Hands Devil sect. Impossible. Do you know how big the realms of gods are? Even if the realms of gods are in ruins, it's impossible for them to search the entire realms of gods in just a month. If they search the realms of gods at the same time, they won't even be able to search 1,000th of the realms of gods. The other prodigies from the Grade 1 forces agreed with the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect. Upon hearing this, the grassroots prodigies who did not know much about the realms of gods heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. It won't affect us if they enter the realms of gods first. Although it won't affect us if they enter the realms of gods first, they have an extra month. Unless they're extremely unlucky, they'll definitely obtain more treasures than us. Many grassroots prodigies could not help but feel jealous when they thought about Duan Lingtian and the others who entered the realms of gods first. Time continued to pass by quietly. In just a blink of an eye, a month had passed. Today, God's secret treasure will be open to us. We have to make good use of the 3 days. Otherwise, we won't be able to obtain anything. I've already prepared to enter the realms of gods for 3 days. I don't think it's realistic for us to search for divine weapons. The realms of gods have been turned into ruins. Even if there are divine weapons in the realms of gods, most of them would have been taken away by the seniors who entered the realms of gods. Indeed, this isn't the first time God's secret treasure has been opened in the genius secret realm. As the group of sky prides waited, the Ning dragon that was guarding the door finally made its move. The 2 Ning dragons ran in different directions. Although the chains on their bodies were still connected to the door was completely exposed in front of the group of sky prides. These 2 Ning dragons, aren't they leaving? Even if they run to the side, they can still attack us. These 2 Ning dragons are quasi-divine beasts without intelligence. If they attack us, we'll definitely die. Even after the 2 Ning dragons ran to the side, the prodigies standing outside the realms of gods looked at each other. None of them made a move for a long time. In the end, Feng Chi-Chi of the Ancient Phoenix clan took the lead and led the prodigies from the Ancient Phoenix clan to the door of God's secret treasure. The prodigies present on the scene heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Feng Chi-Chi and the others entering the realms of God's secret treasure safe and sound. Naturally, some of them could not help but feel puzzled. Didn't they say the Ning dragons have no intelligence? How did they know to move aside and let us in? Do these 2 Ning dragons really have no intelligence? Why do I find it hard to believe? I don't think they're without intelligence either. As the prodigies discussed among themselves, Bailey Hongfei led the people from the Bailey clan into the realms of God's secret treasure. After that, the people from the Thousand Tribulations sword sect, led by Yu Tianxing, also entered the realms of God's secret treasure safe and sound. At this moment, many grassroots prodigies flew into the realms of God's secret treasure as well. Those who were watching from the sidelines were eager to make a move when they saw so many people entering the realms of God's secret treasure safe and sound. After the prodigies from the profound Heavenly Tao sect entered the realms of God's secret treasure, Yun Yi led the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect to the realms of God's secret treasure as well. There were many grassroots prodigies following them as well. However, when the group of elites from the Thousand Hands Devil sect arrived at the entrance of God's secret treasure between the 2 Ning dragons, a sudden change occurred. Roar! Roar! The 2 Ning dragons roared as they opened their mouths and spat out 2 rays of destructive energy. In just a blink of an eye, all the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect were killed. The prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect, led by Yun Yi, were annihilated. A few grassroots prodigies who were close to them were killed as well. As for the other prodigies outside the realms of God's secret treasure, their expressions changed drastically as they hurriedly entered the realms of God's secret treasure. What's going on? The prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect are dead? The grassroots prodigies and the prodigies from the profound Cat clan who had not entered the realms of God's secret treasure in time began to hesitate when they saw the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect were annihilated. Nobody made a move even after a long time had passed. After killing the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect, the 2 Ning dragons seemed to have returned to their usual lazy state. Why did they kill the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect? That's right. It's strange. They didn't make a move when the prodigies from the other Grade 1 forces entered the realms of God's secret treasure, but they killed the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect? Why do I feel like they did it on purpose? Could it be because of Duan Lingtian? That's right. Duan Lingtian and the woman next to him had killed Yun Shao, the sect leader of the Thousand Hands Devil sect. They had become a thorn in the side of the Thousand Hands Devil sect. Based on the fact that they were able to enter the realms of God's secret treasure in advance, it's possible that they had something to do with this. What do you mean? Don't tell me they had an agreement with the Ning dragons to allow them to enter the realms of God's secret treasure before instructing the Ning dragons to kill the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect? That's impossible. Those two Ning dragons are quasi-divine beasts with no intelligence. Do you still think they have no intelligence? After the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect were annihilated, no one dared to enter the realms of God's secret treasure for half an hour. In the end, a grassroots prodigy mustered up his courage and entered the realms of God's secret treasure. From the beginning until the end, the two Ning dragons did not even look at him. Since someone had taken the lead, many people followed suit. The prodigies from the Profound Cat Clan followed suit. When the prodigies from the Profound Cat Clan entered the realms of God's secret treasure without being attacked by the Ning dragons, they heaved a sigh of relief. Why did the Ning dragons only kill the prodigies from the Thousand Hands Devil sect? Was it a coincidence, or was it intentional? It would be fine if it was a coincidence. However, if it was intentional, did it have something to do with Duan Lingtian and the woman next to him? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.